Today, his announcement comes less than 48 hours after the school parted ways with football coach Les Miles. Long hired Miles, who's now accused of inappropriate behavior toward female students while he coached at LSU. Washington football team coach Ron Rivera admits he was scared to death to put quarterback Alex Smith on the field in 2020.
It was always in the back of my head. What if he gets hurt again? What if he hurts that leg, that specific leg again? I'm going to be the guy that put him back on the field to let him get hurt again.
Smith won 5 of his 6 starts for Washington after recovering from devastating injuries to his right leg. He's now a free agent. The NFL salary cap will drop by 8% for the 2021 season. The new cap figure is $182.5 million, down almost $16 million from 2020. The Nets don't know when Kevin Durant will be back on the floor. He'll be out for at least the rest of this week with a strained left hamstring. He's already been out for almost a month. The Spurs will tip off against the Mavericks tonight as the second half of the regular season gets underway. The Spurs and big man LaMarcus Aldridge now mutually agree that he will not come back to the team. San Antonio is hoping to trade Aldridge to avoid the need for a buyout. Brooks Koepka isn't sure right now if he'll be able to play in next month's Masters. Koepka sprained his right knee over the weekend and had to withdraw from this week's Players' Championship.
Hey, it's Greeny, and Monday we're looking back on the All-Star Game and all the festivities and ahead to the second half of the NBA season, plus NFL free agency around the corner. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
Isn't this a sports show?
I left my house, and one of my housemates said, "Man, you got to ask those people at 810 to stop making you wear all these stupid clothes to work. That's unfair. That's bullying." Because I think I was wearing my lobster shorts.
Almost entirely.
Skies out, thighs out. Please be cloudy tomorrow. Please be cloudy tomorrow.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
If I ever wear like a polo and khakis, just kill me in that moment.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Put that on my tombstone. He died with a great shirt, a great watch, and a great haircut.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810.
I gotta be honest, guys, it's a little bit weird on the show tonight. Not just for all of the normal reasons that this show is always weird. It's a little bit weird to be doing a show back where almost exactly a year ago, we were doing a show as the sports world slowly but surely shut down really around the country in various forms. I am live from the Kansas City Live Power and Light District. I am just a hop, skip, and a jump from the T-Mobile Center. I'm going to see if I continue to get that right going into the future, throughout the evening, throughout the weekend, throughout whatever. I'm guessing there's a pretty good chance the words Sprint Center are going to come out of my mouth into a microphone here at some point very, very soon. But that's where I'm at right now as we are out here for the Big 12 tournament. It obviously looks very different today, but there are some things that are nice and familiar in this moment. Not nearly as many people walking across the door outside of the studio. The Sprint Center, as it was formerly known, that was on purpose, is no longer gold and Sprint. It's now pink and T-Mobile. They've actually got, you know what I can do, guys? I can stand up during the show now, since I'm not on the video feed, obviously. I'm walking around the little room here so I can see the big pink Heart KC sign outside of the front of one of the entries of the T-Mobile Center. It is very much my aesthetic. A neon pink Heart KC sign. Straight up my alley. In fact, if somebody who took a couple photography classes in college wants to come and take my new headshot maybe tomorrow night. I didn't do my hair today. I'm wearing a hat. But if you come tomorrow, want to get my good side outside of the neon pink Heart KC sign, I'll be here for it. But it is a little weird, guys, to be out here. I can hear the music from our friends at McFadden's behind us as we're kind of butted up right against them in our little secret studio. I can hear that. That's familiar. But everything else is just a little bit off. as so many things have been, although it was very nice to see Nate Bukaty up on the stage as he is right now, as you can see him. Well, I don't know if he is right now, but whenever I got here, he was up there. Nice to be back in this area. Everyone's wearing masks. Everyone's a little more distanced, and we're all kind of navigating those things. But it's been a little bit of a weird start to the evening, and also, honestly, a really nice one. I was talking to our very own Jason Justice, the Drake, and Rudy, who was back at the studio. I imagine he's there and can hear me. Hi, Rudy.
Hey, what's up, man?
I was talking to you, and honestly, I kind of forgot that you could talk back. It's very weird, also not being able to see you. Rudy's at the studio, Beard's at the studio. Obviously, I'm in the remote studio by McFadden's.
It seems like we have a very good delay going on. And by good, I mean a very very short delay, very small delay.
Yeah, it's a stable connection. The quality is great. I love this.
That's
nice.
Good. I like that.
I don't have to talk to either of you guys during commercial breaks. I can just take off my headset, and as far as you know, I've disappeared, and am no longer, anywhere in your vicinity, because no one knows this publicly, but you both have childlike object permanence issues.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice secret. I seriously am just, at this point, standing up, kind of wandering around this very small office with my very short headset cord, but I'm kind of enjoying the free-flowing nature of it.
Because there's so much room to walk around there. I've been out there. There's so much room.
No, I mean, I'm definitely also on a leash with my headset tying me to the device that I'm on.
I totally get it, though. So I've talked about, my room when I lived in, one of my rooms when I lived in Kentucky and how small it was. And I'm somebody who, when I'm on the phone, I'm a walker when I'm on the phone typically. And I would literally get up and I would walk around my room. But by walking around my room, I would literally just be turning in a circle. I'm not actually moving forward in any direction. I'm just kind of spinning.
Yeah, and that you can't do that whenever you're on the Facebook Live and the Twitch and everything. As you can still watch the show.
You could.
I've
It's just people would think you're weird.
Right. Well, or you would just be looking at kind of my chest instead of my face.
It'd be weird.
Which even I think is at best neutral. So this is probably for the best. You can still watch the show in all the places you typically can watch the show. I just have a 2-dimensional stand-in for me, and that's not a joke about Rudy. But it would have been a pretty funny one if it was. That would have been it also would have been an untrue joke. Because Rudy is a 3-dimensional radio personality running essentially
2.5.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, you've been doing both the Border Patrol and this show for basically a month and a half almost.
6 weeks.
If that didn't give you your third dimension, nothing is ever going to. So I think you're safe now.
Maybe.
But I was telling Rudy and the Drake and Jessica, who doesn't regularly appear on the show. Jessica may be famous on this show for running into a window.
I was gonna say she's been on our show.
That's true. She has
running into a glass door.
We were talking about, the best shows in AES history a few nights ago.
That's up
there.
That
show where we had Jason Anderson and Brian Haney do the Spider-Man meme, essentially.
I still don't know who was who.
I don't either. I just know one of them was Jason Anderson and one of them was Brian Haney. If you put a gun to my head and tell me which one was which, I'd be flipping a coin. But then Jessica walked into a window. It was great. I mean, it wasn't great for her, but it was pretty funny for us.
She was all right, so it was fine.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the last time I talked to Jessica because she went to be with Jesus after walking into a window very hard. No, she's fine. In fact, I was telling you and Jason and her Monday when we were out here setting up some stuff for the Big 12 tournament that was the second time I had eaten out at a restaurant in a year. And both times have been work-related also. One was, us taking a break out here, and one was I stopped to eat one time. I was running some errands around for some 810 stuff. And that is just kind of a bonkers thing to think about. That's all kind of just come rushing back as I'm doing the show from here tonight, because it really kind of bookends this absolutely outrageously weird year that we've been living in.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that also to say that being back out here, and if you're, comfortable having, again, this is not a packed venue right now. So if that's your concern that it's wall to wall, it's not. In fact, I think there may be a limit on who's, how many people can be here and everything. And it'll probably be more full tomorrow when KU's playing, I imagine. But It so far I've been very, it looked very responsible out here. I've been pleased with the turnout and all of that. If you are kind of tempted to come roam around out here, I would say that if you haven't been out much, it might be a good time to come out with the weather being nice, open air, plenty of space and everything. It's been a pleasant, not even just like a trip down memory lane or whatever. It's just been a pleasant time that I honestly was not expecting to be like, oh, this, you know what, this is really nice. But it really genuinely has been. To be able to just kind of have something that feels a little normal, a little toned down, but mostly normal, and obviously has sort of shadows of what we were doing last year and have done many years in the past. It's been kind of a cool vibe out here, at least so far tonight as I've been out here, and I imagine that will continue throughout the Big 12 tournament. And our live coverage of the Big 12 tournament and championship week is all brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, and 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomers. And if you come out here, I think you'll have a good time. Nate's up on the stage tonight. I think Allie Trost will be out here. And I'm saying she actually may be tonight as well. I had to deliver a phone charger and a key to Nate. So I have spoken to Nate tonight. Because I'm not only a great coworker, I'm a good friend. I brought this man my own phone charger so he could have juice to do the Border Patrol tomorrow morning. So, Rudy, if you could just bring that up to Nate and tell him that if I don't get that back, I will be charging him the full retail value of that third-party Apple charger, which is, I believe...
you mean first-party Apple charger.
Yeah, no,
that costs $299.
Yeah, I think it was almost certainly a $7 charger.
No.
But he doesn't have to know that. I'm going to tell you the truth. You can lie to him for me. I know he's not listening right now. He's on the stage. So I think I'm safe. But anyway, if you feel like stretching your legs and being outside in a safe environment that's gonna, I think, give you a pretty good vibe, I've been happy to spend a little time kind of moseying about out here before the show started tonight. And we're gonna have coverage from here all week long, and over the course of the weekend, we're gonna have all sorts of great coverage leading up into the NCAA tournament. All week again here on Sports Radio 810. I got a show on Sunday, a Selection Sunday show that will bring you. It'll all be a lot of fun. Where it has not been as much fun though these last couple of days, as if you've been listening to this show, you have certainly noticed that the story of this week has been KU football, and I could not tell you a lot of times over the course of the last decade where that has been a positive.
In what regard?
Well, that's a great question, Rudy. I would say on the field. I would say on the field. I would say off the field. I would say I am uniquely qualified to talk about how KU has been uniquely terrible for a decade.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that checks out.
Thank you. Thank you for the validation. I would say that it's hard to find many times over the last decade where KU football has been the headline, and that has ultimately been a good thing for KU football, or really anyone who cares about it. One of the times that may have been the case was whenever KU hired Jeff Long, who then hired Les Miles. And obviously, the best buy date on that one has long since passed. Not only did we have the conversation yesterday, obviously, of KU parting ways with Les Miles, we also yesterday had the conversation about Jeff Long. And I was thinking about sort of drawing this out in a narrative way. I imagine if you're listening right now, you've heard KU and Jeff Long have now parted ways. I'll give you his statement in a little bit. I'll give you the details of his buyout in a little bit. He did not resign in the traditional sense. This dude's going to have a filthy bank account for the remainder of this year. And, again, it's excellent work if you can be so bad at your job that you can get it. But KU and Jeff Long part ways today. After the press conference that literally it was almost exactly 23 hours prior, less than 24 hours between Jeff Long going to the Zoom podium and talking about KU football, not just its recent past, but also its future. I mean, he got asked, and I don't want to dunk on whoever asked this. I think they were with the Daily Kansan, and I have asked some terrible questions, certainly in my collegiate days. But like he got asked, perhaps irresponsibly, if they had identified any candidates upcoming in the search. He got asked more zoomed out later on, how involved do you plan on being in the search? How involved do you think you should be in the search? What are your plans for the future of redeeming KU football here? And Jeff Long didn't have very many good answers, if honestly, any at all. It was a mess from top to bottom. It was a mess for the entirety of the half hour or so that he talked. And it was a mess last night whenever we worked through all of the audio clips that I think ultimately built the case of how can you think that this guy is going to get it right next time? And maybe even more importantly, don't guess what the next result will be. Look at the history and tell me why, in his words, he is uniquely qualified to do this again. Because his literal answer to that question was, I've been doing this for a long time. Not with terrible success, I would add, but just been doing it for a long time. I don't feel any particular animosity towards Jeff Long. I probably would get in trouble for framing it this way more often than I would like, but it seems like Jeff Long is a nice enough dude who I unless he was covering up Les Miles' stuff, which I have no reason to think definitively, whatever. The best reading of any of this, the most generous reading that I'll give you now, is that Jeff Long is a dude who ended up way in over his head when the friend that he hired, the qualified friend, but the friend that he hired without much vetting, didn't work out. And it just left KU floating down the river, no paddle, Bleeps Creek. And I can't think of one single solitary reason to have thought that Jeff Long, whose hiring career now, and his last three hires were Bobby Petrino, Brett Bielema, and Les Miles. Why should that guy try to get KU out of the rut that has been dug deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper? The best counter-argument might be what Nick Schwerdt was getting at whenever he talked to us last night. Nick was excellent. If you didn't hear our conversation with him and you care about this story even a little bit, go listen to the podcast with Nick from last night. But Nick made the point that these are two guys who are in over their heads, who did very bad jobs, who could not stick around any longer, and also KU was in a better place than they were before both of them were hired, which is crazy, and also, I think, true and fair. I think that's reasonable and accurate, and also seems like a logic puzzle. How can a university be forced to part ways with their AD and the head coach after a past scandal reared its ugly head, and also have their program be in a better place than they were 2 years ago? The answer: be Kansas football. That's honestly the answer. And it's remarkable in its uniquely qualified nature. So KU and Jeff Long part ways today. I'm going to get to the statement in a second. I'm going to get to the numbers in a second. But while we're here, and since this may be the only time that we can justifiably replay this entire exchange in a newsworthy sense, Beards, I'd love to replay Sam Mellinger's question to Jeff Long and the entire sort of exchange here, as I think Sam was remarkably fair in his questioning and in the sort of tone of the question. And then Jeff Long, in about a minute here, I think, made a pretty definitive case for why he could not be employed even 24 hours after answering this question.
Jeff, this is a little bit along those same lines, too. This is Sam Mellinger in Kansas City. This is something that in normal times maybe I try to ask you to the side, so I apologize for the format here. But the hires that you made in Arkansas, we're talking a lot about Les, but the hires in Arkansas weren't successful either. Are there things that you've learned?
In what regard? I would have to ask, what regard were they not successful?
On the field? I mean, and the Petrino thing, we don't need to get into that, but what have you learned from those processes, or why do you think KU fans should be confident that you can make this hire the right one?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've been involved in college football my entire professional life. I've worked at a number of institutions. I worked in a number of conferences. I have worked in many different ways in college football, but I think I'm uniquely prepared, having been a college football coach at the Division I level at a Power 5 school early in my career, and then having worked at a number of Power 5 institutions along the way. So I'm confident in my knowledge. I'm confident in my experience, and I have no doubt that we can find the next great leader for the KU in the best interests of our student athletes.
Every time I hear that clip, something else different strikes me, and I've now listened to that clip or watched the video of it, no less than a dozen times probably, just because I think it's fascinating. I think it's a fascinating look into Jeff Long and KU, into a really unique sports journalism moment and situation. I think it's all fascinating, honestly. I really do. The thing there, though, that isn't making as many of the headlines, and that is not necessarily the thing that is going to, be tacked on to Jeff Long's Wikipedia page, as he is now the former athletics director at Kansas, is not in what regard. It's, why are you qualified? Well, I've just been around for a very long time. And what caught me this time was a number of conferences. His qualification is just that he's done this in a number of conferences now. Like, that doesn't, sure, but why does that mean anything to me? Why should I care that you've done it in a number of conferences? It just strikes me as just wholly irrelevant to the conversation the rest of us were all having. But I also think that is the clip that I think most justifies what I'll say here, and largely what we said last night. Of course. Of course Jeff Long had to go. Of course you couldn't put him at the helm as the face of your program. The question I would ask was, why was he the face of your program 24 hours before you let him go? There was no new information yesterday. I think there are a couple of reasonable ways you could argue, that you could try to make as the justification for why Jeff Long was the guy out on the front lines of the presser yesterday. I think one argument would be that you gotta, I think it was Brad Porter that phrased this way on Twitter, you gotta feed the Lions with somebody. There's a Coliseum. You gotta feed somebody to the Lions. And maybe so, but you could have put Gerard out there and let him answer some questions on a larger scale that honestly he probably would have had less direct responsibility for, which may have given him a little bit of padding. And maybe he didn't want to go out there for it. I'm sure he's the chancellor of Kansas. Maybe you wanted to have Jeff Long be the guy that goes out there and has to answer some of the questions that he made for himself about Les Miles. All right, fine. But the specific type of questions that feel so silly now, 24 hours, now more than that, obviously, but at the time, 24 hours removed from the press conference, and then having Jeff Long part ways with Kansas, a phrase that we've gotten very comfortable saying many times over, is that you let him represent what was coming next. You let him set the tone for where KU would go from here. And maybe this is me doing the thing that I really try not to do very often, which is complain and point out a misstep without giving a better option as the offering. And so maybe I'm at fault to say, here, you should have done something different. Well, what should you have done differently? I don't know. I'm not in charge. Maybe that's on me in some regard. But it just strikes me as such a bizarre misstep and such a bizarre spot to be in now, with this situation being as unique and kind of uniquely disastrous as it has ultimately been. It's very strange. I'm also going to try to adjust my headphones so I can hear slightly less of the PA announcer behind me from.
I could hear him a little bit.
Could you?
Yeah. Now, my guess is it's something the average person listening probably didn't hear any of it. It's just I have headphones on, and so I can hear you a little bit better than the average person who's listening on the radio or on Twitch or anything.
Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about the quality of the sound out to everyone else. I'm just, it's a little bit of an extra sort of terrain challenge.
For sure.
To do live radio, basically with somebody else kind of talking in your ear. without knowing they're doing it. I've heard some music that I don't think I've heard in a year out here, by the way. I mean, I've gotten a little throwback Britney Spears recently, I believe, which is pumping through the speakers. Got a little Justin Bieber earlier, which was a huge surprise. Just some good old-fashioned, like, I heard the Chainsmokers for the first time in definitely a year. The last thing I remember hearing about the Chainsmokers was they were having big concerts kind of early
I was
going to
say,
days.
you clearly weren't at the big concerts during
Yeah.
COVID.
That's the story I'm going to tell at
You
least.
missed out, man. You missed out.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you had a great time.
It was a blast.
Yeah, it just seemed irresponsible, just optically. I
mean,
wasn't worried
to
about
be
it.
fair, most people there were wearing masks even before COVID, so we were all pretty good.
Just stylistically, you mean, as a style choice?
For sure.
Or to hide their identity as being someone who went to
a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Good old Chainsmokers. What have they done recently other than that? Have they put out any music in the pandemic? You have your finger on the beat of the Chainsmokers.
I don't think so.
I meant finger on the pulse, but finger on the beat might actually be more accurate in this particular instance.
I think they've just been laying low.
Yeah.
I think the concert thing happened. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna chill for a bit.
Yeah, let's take some time off. Let's take 5.
We're just gonna chill.
That seems reasonable. I think that's probably a decent strategy.
More people should do that. More people should when they find themselves in bad situations. You know what? Just chill, Jeff.
Just lay low.
Just chill, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Don't go out and talk to people, and then show up and then show up late to your own press conference that you scheduled. Just chill, Jeff. Just chill.
I did see some people questioning on Twitter after he was fired. If the press conference goes perfectly yesterday, what happens? Did the presser essentially end his time at KU and all that? My inclination, my hunch would be that his firing was 75% loaded before the press conference.
Yeah,
and then it fully buffered to 100 over the course of it, and maybe it was even to 95, and then the reaction to it maybe pushed it to 100. If he would have absolutely nailed the press conference, something that I'm not sure he would be literally capable of doing, to be honest, I'm not even sure that was his fault, that he could have navigated it. If he would have somehow navigated it and everyone's just holding up a perfect 10 at the end, holding up the dunk contest cards, maybe, and look, I don't want to put blood on Sam Mellinger's hands, and I don't think he wants this, but if he nails the press conference and then Sam's column is, KU had a Les Miles problem, but they're headed in the right direction with Jeff Long. And if that was the accompanying, again, not to put all the blood in Mellinger's hands, I don't think he fired Jeff Long.
Put the blood.
But if the public perception would have gone that way as well, maybe he could have stopped it at 80% instead of having it load. But he was just, after that press conference, I was very comfortable making the call. And if there would have been any other read out of that, outside of the best 5% of possible outcomes, I think it probably wasn't happening. I think he was probably out regardless. He didn't help himself. He didn't help matters. He didn't slow down the conversation. Because here's the thing. I don't think that he could have basically known he was gone before the presser and then still gone out there. That would have been a tough, that would have been a little bit of a you can't fire me, I quit opportunity, I think, to say, well, that's fine that you don't want me here anymore, but I'm not going to go be the sacrifice for if I'm going to get fired in 24 hours. Conversely, though, maybe he got a little bit of a note of what the money was going to end up being, and he decided, I'll go ahead and be the sacrifice for $1.375 million. The statements from KU and from Jeff Long were interesting. The details of the buyout were interesting. All of the moving parts at hand have been interesting. We will take a break and talk about more of that whenever we come back. Right now, I am live from the Kansas City Power and Light District. A very different look, obviously, than a year ago. very different than 2 years ago, but been nice to be out here so far. If you want to come out over the course of the week for the Big 12 tournament and all of that, and all of the festivities that will continue out here for Hoop Central out here at the Kansas City Live stage and the accompanying Power and Light District, you can do that. We'll be out here all week long. And all of our live coverage of the Big 12 tournament and championship week is all brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomers.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs with Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Dodge Power Days roll into March, and it's just in time for tax return season. At Victory, you choose between a new Dodge Journey or a new 2021 Jeep Renegade and get $3,000 over Kelley Blue Book for any trade-in. Folks, it's this simple. Drive in, provide your trade information, and add $3,000 to whatever Kelley Blue Book says it's worth, and let's do business. Visit us at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Listen up, you'll want to hear this. PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy, non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 45 to participate in a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for one stay of 8 nights, 9 days, and one follow-up visit. Additional eligibility criteria applies. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $4,000. Call PRA today at 913-210-5900 or visit us on the web at prastudies.com/Lenexa.
With spring approaching, it brings new sounds. Birds chirping and dripping icicles. KC will be in full bloom soon. What better time to get outdoors? Your hometown friends at Bushnell are here, and we want you to enjoy this time of year and share your passion for the outdoors. Camping, target shooting, hunting, or heading out to the ballpark. Bushnell has what you need to get outside and enjoy the spring season. Visit the Bushnell Factory Outlet or check out bushnell.com to see the latest assortment in binoculars, rifle scopes, rangefinders, and more.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do? It's easy. 1, open laptop. 2, go to OurTime.com. 3, start for free. OurTime is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who just want to do something fun. Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on OurTime. Go to OurTime.com today and start for free.
Bill was tired of saying no to his kids because of his debilitating pain.
I have 3 kids that are 13 and under. Every day they're asking, Dad, can we take a bike ride? Dad, can we play ping pong? Unfortunately, in the past, I had to sadly say no quite often.
An accident left Bill with aching knees and shoulders. Even after 4 knee surgeries, Bill still felt constant pain in his knees. And then he discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative cell therapies.
I did it on the knee. It really became life-changing. I've had the same results with the shoulder.
QC Kinetics non-invasive regenerative cell treatments help restore damaged tissue and provide amazing relief for knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Right there in the office, no downtime. Bill's able to say yes to just about anything these days.
Like taking my kids to Disney World and walking 10 miles a day at Disney, bike riding, taking a walk on the beach.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. Off 435 and State Line, 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299.
Rick Edelman, #1 New York Times bestselling author and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his hit radio show. Let's listen to Rick help a caller who's saving for retirement.
Hey, Rick, how can I keep my retirement money safe?
By taking some risk. That sounds weird, I know, but when it comes to saving for retirement, if you try to keep your money safe, you're actually taking big risks. Savings accounts, well, they're not safe from inflation. They're not safe from taxes. There are, in fact, 18 different asset classes, and they all have different risks. So spread your money around, so no one thing can wipe you out. It's like having 12 eggs in 12 baskets. Diversification helps you manage your risk while still giving you the opportunities provided by the financial markets.
That was award-winning radio host Rick Edelman. Get help diversifying your portfolio from one of our financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
Live coverage of the Big 12 Tournament and Championship Week is brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomers. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
All right, we're doing this show live from the bottom of a swimming pool And, oh, man, the chlorine levels are perfect in here. I'm Joshua Brisco.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
We're live from the Kansas City Power and Light District. Nice to be back out here, even under some, uncertain terms, and at least, or not uncertain necessarily, but different than in years past, but better than it ended up being last year, obviously, is that at least we're out here, which is a wonderful thing to be able to be once again. I can also give you a final score from the Big 12 tournament. Hell yeah, K-State. Look at you guys go. K-State 71, TCU 50. TCU not exactly a juggernaut or anything, but they were the higher seeded team out of the Big 12 tournament. K-State finished 9th behind TCU and Oklahoma, ahead of Iowa State. Iowa State and Oklahoma will tip off here later on tonight. But look at that! Who would have thought? Good for K-State. Nice to. I imagine that eventually they're probably going to end up playing Baylor tomorrow. I would imagine either Baylor or
they play
KU.
Baylor. Yeah.
Well, if Iowa State wins, wouldn't they play Baylor, or is that not reseeded? Am I an idiot?
No, it is not reseeded. KU will play the winner of Oklahoma, Iowa State. Baylor plays the winner of TCU or K-State, which is obviously K-State.
Why am I surprised that a college basketball tournament is using a bracket? Why am I that one's just me? I'm just an idiot. I'm just a dumb person.
It's the football brain, right? The most recent.
Yeah, you know what? That's it.
Yeah, the most recent playoff that we've had is it obviously is the NFL, and that's how the NFL does it.
Dude, I appreciate how efficient you are at helping me dig
You're
out
also
of
still an
my
idiot,
own
but
ditches.
just not for that reason.
Sure, absolutely.
You are an idiot for very valid
Dumb,
reasons,
stupid
but
person.
I believe when you call somebody an idiot, you do it for valid reasons.
I gotta say, it makes it
Legit
even more
reasons.
It makes it even more impactful whenever you
not just out here throwing the I word around silly nilly.
right. Because whenever I really do just absolutely face plant into something stupid,
oh boy,
and that'll be that'll happen many times, but it'll be so much more impactful whenever you go, Josh, you big dumb idiot.
Oh God, Josh.
It'll be well deserved.
Sorry, I had a tweet just pop up on my tweet deck.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, coming soon. This is tweeted by Build-A-Bear. Our Animal Crossing New Horizons collection is full of fun for all ages.
God!
I haven't been to Build-A-Bear in a long time, but I'm about to take my niece to Build-A-Bear.
I'm going to see if my parents want to fly my sister back to Kansas City
Sign up
and
for
see
this email. So I
and
get
we'll
the
look.
updates.
Listen, ma'am, at the counter checking out. Isn't it cute that my sister and I are both getting our own Build-A-Bears?
I'm doing it with them.
It would be so rude if I just made her do it on her own.
It's special because me and my niece are doing it together.
Exactly. But here's the thing: probably not gonna get Chloe on a plane to go do a Build-A-Bear with me. You know what?
Maybe you got to get on a plane.
Rudy, I have
There's
a question.
Build-A-Bear in Tampa.
I got a question.
I will answer that question. I've heard that K-State's post presser has started. I'm just gonna go check, make sure the levels are good. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
That's fine. I'm just going to say the question anyway, and then Rudy can answer whenever he's back in 30 seconds. Do you think that Rudy's niece needs 2 trips to Build-A-Bear?
Why don't you guys just go together?
So we look like her gay dads? Like that might work.
Just you two together.
But beards. That's definitely what we would look like, which is fine. That might be the strategy. But that would have to be the play, I think.
What's the strategy here? What's the play?
Well, so my question was, is there any chance that your niece would like to go to Build-A-Bear twice?
Oh, okay.
You take her once, I'll take her once. But then Beard suggested that that just you and I take your niece.
Yeah.
I suggested you two just go together.
Oh, not even with Rudy. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, here's the thing. I just need somebody else with me, to be honest. I just feel weird if I was in there by myself. If I have somebody else with me, it doesn't really matter who the other person is, for being honest.
That's the thing, Beards. That's the thing. Also, by the way, I don't know if this is anything or not, but Build-A-Beard Workshop is something that I would like to just kind of put into the universe. Trademark that. That is my intellectual property. We will see if maybe we try to get maybe Beards' next thing is Build-A-Beard's McFly. I don't know, but I like it. But what I was saying. So first of all, Beards, now that you've clarified, Rudy and I are not going with Rudy's niece. Just Rudy and I are going. then we look like, I mean, we should be arrested.
We could take both
I don't
nieces.
think.
We could also take my nephew. We can just have all kids. There'll be 3 of them by the time this is out. We can just make a whole family trip out of this.
See, now we're cooking. Rudy and I cannot go without a child. Because it looks if you go to Build-A-Bear without a child, you look like you're trying to leave with a child still.
The Build-A-Bears in a mall. There are children everywhere. I'm sure we can find one.
But that's the issue, right? That's the issue. What I was saying is that if you and I go with your niece, we just look like your niece's 2 gay dads.
Yes.
Which is fun. Like, that might just be our strategy.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
No one's gonna second guess us then.
And if they do, lawsuit, and we retire. We're good.
Oh,
it's honestly a win-win. However you look at it.
I think that's
Build-A-Bear. Weirdly enough, Build-A-Bear gives off some vibes that maybe we got a lot. Maybe we'd have some luck.
I am not going to disparage Build-A-Bear Workshop.
That's
home
true.
of
That's a good
coming
point.
soon and the Animal Crossing
I do like
collection.
Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bear's a good place.
Wow, this is incredibly exciting.
I'm sorry, Build-A-Bear. You're great.
Thank you for. No, I think they would be welcoming to us in our business.
They would.
It's just really, that's very, very exciting.
They're all about
right,
choices.
so
you get to be whoever you want to be. That is the essence behind Build-A-Bear.
That's exactly right. You can get a little Tom Nook, put him in a little Hawaiian shirt. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
He can
so good.
Go around to all the local businesses and make them pay him protection money. Whew.
Yeah. Or a little KK Slider. All of a sudden now we're the coolest. I was going to say the coolest cats. Really, the coolest dogs in the universe. Anyway, I was going to read you some KU. I was going to read you some KU stuff, and this is where we've ended up, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But Beards, you said you had a couple of Twitch comments you wanted to read. I cannot see the Twitch comments. I do not have enough screens for that here on remote.
Earlier in the last segment when you were talking about this is the first time you've heard certain music in like the last year or so.
Yes.
Chaotic Warrior asked, is Josh saying he doesn't have a very diverse music library without it being forced upon him? To which Human Torch responded, he only listens to indie bands we've never heard of. I'm making that guess based on how he normally dresses.
It's not a bad guess.
No, what it really is, the honest answer, obviously, look, do I have some eclectic music tastes? Absolutely. But I also really like some like very mainstream pop that I am not in any way too good for.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I am pretty. Harold Kuntz is walking by right now. I would yell at him, but I'm one step away from the door. I would not be able to reach him. I think he'd be very confused to hear a door screeching at him.
Say hi, Mr. Harold.
But the truth of it is just that it is a sort of sweet spot of like late 2000s, early 2010s. Really, honestly, just maybe mid 2010s. Now that we're in deep in the 2020s, kind of 2010s pop that I just do not. I do not revisit very often in my musical library, and so it's more of a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
Listen,
see that, that's honestly like my sweet spot still with music.
Yeah.
And now it's not so much pop, as much as it's pop punk. But it's it's that whole Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, like that whole era.
No, but you're thinking too. I think you're still thinking too niche though. That's sort of.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes. It's still a little. It was pretty popular back in the day, but it wasn't obviously like you mentioned Britney Spears earlier. It wasn't Britney Spears.
Right, and it's like I'm gonna try to keep an ear out a little more carefully, but I mean it's just.
Britney Spears though was more like late '90s, early 2000s.
Sure.
But I get what I understand what you mean.
But it was almost nostalgic in the mid 2010s.
Yes, yeah.
That right there, like, I actually don't recognize the song that's currently playing. I'll tell you this. I heard the song "Counting Stars" by I cannot remember who did that song. I heard there was there's been some Katy Perry, like that kind of.
Oh, One Republic did "Counting Stars."
Like it's been exactly kind of that. And it's been kind of nice. It's just been some music I haven't thought about in a while. Were there any other comments from Twitch Beers that you wanted to get to?
Those were the only ones that popped out at the moment, or at least the ones that I wanted to read. I haven't looked through everything yet.
Human Torch asked if this is my last week on the Border Patrol. I have to work on Monday. It's a pay period thing. We get paid on the 15th and the end of the month, and so I have to finish out the pay period essentially. which is
I love
Monday.
that you thought
the
that was a
15th.
necessary clarification. When your answer could have just been.
Because it's just weird when people are like, why Monday? Like, why is that the last day? Like, that's a weird last day. Well, it's a pay period thing.
I just think it's funny that was a clarifying factor. That,
Every time somebody's asked me, even people we work with who know when we get paid, are like, why do you have to do Monday? I'm like, yeah, it's a pay period thing.
Wait a second. Are you guys getting paid?
I mean, I get jazz bucks.
Plead the fifth.
Hold on a second. You guys told me that you're doing an extended internship. Hold on.
Yeah, jazz bucks.
Swindled.
Jazz bucks.
God, I would absolutely demolish some jazz given the opportunity right now.
The
Oh,
Louis Armstrong burger. I have not had that thing in over a year.
I would fight a line full of people for a Louis Armstrong burger.
It's been a year since I've had at least a year since I've had a Louis Armstrong burger. I haven't had a Louis Armstrong burger in the pandemic. It's depressing.
I also, just to continue circling back at, kind of the place we're at right now, I don't know where the situation is going to be as the show wraps up tonight. I will be looking to patronize pretty much any of the surrounding Power and Light restaurants after the show this evening, because I am already hungry and they're all delicious. So you can come do that as well. Although right now I will say it is pouring. It is pouring rain at the moment.
I want to. Is it really raining that hard now? I want to mention one more thing because Human Torch has then also now responded. We believe in you, Rudy. Did you get more G Fuel? Yes, I did. And if you need G Fuel, buy it tonight. At least by tomorrow. Use the code PKM in cash. Get 30% off, and it helps me maybe get a cool shaker bottle for a Twitch streamer I like.
And just to clarify, it might help you buy that guy a shaker bottle.
Yes.
You're not getting a cut.
No, I'm not getting a cut. It would just they would then make a shaker bottle if he does well enough in a March Madness type of bracket. They're down to the final 32, which he is in. It is.
And then after the 32, they will reseed by highest and lowest seed remaining, right?
Yes.
That is how that works.
Yes. So I'm hoping
famously,
he gets to the final 16. At which point is no longer purchase based. It is they give out challenges to the 16 content creators, and it's just then it's the 8 best who complete their challenge, move on, and that's pretty cool. So I bought quite a bit of stuff a couple days ago. I'm hoping he gets past because his designs are good, and I think it'd be a good shaker bottle. And I may have bought like 3 new shaker bottles. I might have too many shaker bottles now.
You can never have too many shaker bottles.
But I need more shaker bottles. There's a new one that they released, Josh. It's pretty good. The blue one. It's pretty good.
Wow, tell me more.
Blue.
It's blue, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's blue. It's pretty good.
All right, we're going to take another break. Whenever we come back, for real, I'm going to tell you about Jeff Long's settlement with KU and how he is now hustling just about as hard as Les Miles is. Good for Jeff Long, taking a big bag of cash on the way out.
It's glacial
like the
blue.
Monopoly man. It's unbelievable. Glacial blue,
yeah,
you said?
It's like a baby, not baby blue quite, but it's a baby blue-ish with a white. It's pretty good.
All right, so I also haven't mentioned this over the course of the show. We're going to talk to Breland Moore of KCTV5 here in about 10 minutes or so. I'm not going to ask her what color of G Fuel cup she wants.
I'll buy her one.
Also, you might have to just start giving them away.
I've got the glacial blue still in my cart. I'm just waiting for more things to buy.
And we'll talk to David Lesky of Inside the Crown for our weekly conversation with him about all things Royals. We've said for a long time we'd get to Bobby Witt. I think it may be time for us to get to Bobby Witt. That'll be at 9 o'clock tonight. So we'll get to Bobby Witt, later on in the show. We'll take a break, though. I am live from the Kansas City Power and Light District, getting all the festivities rolling here for the Big 12 tournament. K-State has the first win of the tournament. Exciting to see for the local team that's had maybe the most sort of severe struggles this year. They got the dub over TCU tonight, so that's nice to see. Just across the street here at the T-Mobile Center, which I have successfully named every time so far. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, Jeff Long settlement, taking money on the way out of Lawrence in a way that really I think any good swindler would appreciate.
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Small business owners don't have the patience for nonsense, especially when it comes to their internet provider. They want the best services for the best price. Simply put, that's Spectrum Business. They give you great value, zero nonsense. Just call 833-919-2121. You'll get fast, reliable internet and phone with no contracts and no hidden fees, all for a price that could cut your bill in half. Spectrum Business. Call today, 833-919-2121.
Basketball is our favorite season. KC Live in the Power and Light District is Hoop Central. Join us at KC Live as we MC the pregame. McFadden's is offering a special brunch on Thursday and Saturday to fuel you up for game day. Carry out and dine-in are available from all restaurants during the tournament. It's all brought to you by Coors Light, KC Live, and Sports Radio 810 WHB. For details or to reserve your table, visit powerandlightdistrict.com/basketball.
Do you have a list of reasons you're not getting screened for colorectal cancer? You think it can't happen to you, or maybe you've heard negative things about the test? Colorectal cancer is the third leading cause of cancer death in the U.S. when men and women are combined, but it can be prevented or found at an early stage. If you're 45 or older, learn more about the screening options available to you, including simple take-home tests. Call your doctor about getting screened today.
Car enthusiasts looking for the best place to store and show off your car? Check out the KC Underground, Kansas City's car collection. KC Underground is part of the Kansas City Automotive Museum and provides a safe place to store your vehicle with 24-hour monitoring while sharing its history. Call today to reserve a spot underground for your car. Use the promo code 810 and you'll receive a 10% discount. Go to thekcunderground.com or call 816-492-7147 and mention 810-WHB. If you can see the skyline, the KC Underground is just moments away.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players. You can lose those pandemic pounds and get into shape before the warmer weather, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, and they have a location close by, right off 435 by the corner of College and Metcalf. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET. That's 855-5-NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Hey investors, have you always wanted to get into the real estate investing game but don't have the money? Crossroads Investment Lending loans money for fix and flips. Locally owned and here to help you fund your real estate project. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Crossroads Investment Lending has helped hundreds of KC investors make their real estate deals happen. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Whenever I do shave, I always save the mustache until last and then just sort of stare into the mirror at my own reflection. Maybe I'll kind of like gently caress it a little bit, and I always just like whisper to myself silently, maybe next time.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remains true to this day, although being Hopper from Stranger Things for Halloween really did sort of satisfy my question of what would I look like with a mustache. And the answer was not very good.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It wasn't. Here's the
I
thing.
mean, I thought the look was pretty solid.
I didn't shave it off. You know, I kept it through the beard growing back in. And there was a point at which the mustache is just a little longer than everything, but there's still some beard kind of action going on around it that I think was fine, was very much passable.
Mm-hmm.
The mustache totally hanging out on its own. I don't think is my best look. Wasn't an atrocity against God and man, but probably wasn't my best look. That's all. That's all I gotta say.
I thought it was a good, solid look.
Thank you, Rudy.
Also,
You've been
by the
very
way,
supportive today. Very
it
supportive.
is. I don't know what it's like up there, but the way it is raining here, oh boy.
It has stopped raining here.
Oh, it is coming down like
There-
something fierce here. Like it is loud.
That was here 15 minutes ago or so. It's crazy how weather works, huh?
It's on its way to you again, man. I'm telling you, you got another little storm coming.
And her name is Breland Moore next on Almost Entirely. We can't wear her take a break. It would have been a good tease. We will talk to Breland here in about five or 6 minutes. I do want to give you the numbers on Jeff Long's settlement with KU. They have parted ways. Jeff Long said that he stepped down. I will also step down if you want to give me $125,000 monthly stares every single step of the way. Because that's what Jeff Long is getting here. Jeff Long is getting a $1.375 million buyout. He will get the direct deposit of $125,000 every month through 2021. Can you imagine how good the first of every month must feel? Because I'll tell you what, every single month I would crack open my bank app and just see that it had hit. Oh,
Yeah, as punishment though, KU should actually write out a check and make them go to the bank.
I think that's cruel and unusual. It's just remarkable. And also, by the way, there were some reports before the news came out today about how KU investors were not, or backers or whatever, were not happy with Jeff Long's performance. Obviously, you want to know how not happy they were? They paid a significant amount of money to get Les Miles and Jeff Long out of here. It's a really fascinating story. We'll talk about that and much more with Breland Moore of KCTV5 next. You're on Sports Radio 810.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey guys, Corey Anderson. On Friday, I'm going to be checking out the Kansas Open Season Sportsman's Expo. It's going on all weekend long at the Overland Park Convention Center. The Kansas Open Season Sportsman's Expo will be filled with the latest products, gear, and equipment for hunting, fishing, and outdoor enthusiasts. Attendees can meet industry insiders and celebrities, test out the newest products, shop for special show deals, and bring your deer to have it scored in their Trophy Deer Contest. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit OpenSeasonSportsman'sExpo.com.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here for my main man, Ed Baldwin, with Community Mortgage. Interest rates are at historic lows. What are you waiting for? You can use the equity in your home to take cash out for a remodel or to pay off high-interest credit card debt. You could also get rid of that dreaded private mortgage insurance. Ed gets calls all the time from people who started off using online and national lenders, and he bails them out with a loan that will close on time and with better rates and lower costs. Don't contact a mortgage inside sales call center where they'll give you a number and send you down the line. Call Ed and work with a professional. There are mortgage companies, and then there's Ed Baldwin. You call and you speak to Ed, 913-825-1999. For all your refinance or home purchase needs, call Ed Baldwin for rates in the twos at 913-825-1999. That's 913-825-1999, or apply online at edbaldwinhomeloans.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, Kansas Licensed Mortgage Company, NMLS number 224143, APRs in the threes.
Visit your Kansas City Acura dealers for jaw-dropping deals on new and pre-owned Acura models. Get insanely low lease payments and huge financing deals on award-winning sedans like the all-new 2021 Acura TLX and best-selling SUVs like the 2021 RDX Crossover or the all-new 2022 MDX. Now's the time with test drives to your door and stackable savings for college grads and military. Plus, bonus rewards for current Acura owners and first-time Acura buyers. Shop your Kansas City Acura dealers today.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. After a car wreck, the last thing you want to do is trust the insurance company. These insurance companies try to rip off good people every single day. My law firm won't let you get ripped off. We'll fight to get you all the money you deserve, and you don't pay us a dime unless we win your case. If you've been hurt, call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Championship Week on Sports Radio 810 is presented by Creative Planning, a nationally recognized Kansas City wealth manager. Go to creativeplanning.com for more information. By CBD American Shaman. Stop by your local American Shaman or visit them online at cbdamericanshaman.com. By 23rd Street Brewery, your basketball headquarters all month long. Support a local favorite with curbside dine-in and carry-out, the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. And by Gomer's, a Kansas City tradition since 1969. Nobody knows more about fine wine, spirits, and craft beer than Gomer's.
Number one all day, every day. Kansas City's hometown radio station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810. WHB, Kansas City.
There, I'm Mark Robbins. The NHL is coming to ESPN, starting with the 21-22 season. ESPN signing a 7-year deal with the National Hockey League today. They're going to be regular season games, playoffs, and Stanley Cup finals on the family of networks. It's a big day here in Bristol, and of course, with a big day for hockey, we just had to hear from our NHL analyst, Barry Melrose.
Today was one of the happiest days I've ever had. My births of my grandsons, births of my children. But to get the feeling that the NHL is going to be back in Bristol, we're going to be doing our hits out of Bristol, it's a fantastic moment for anyone who loves hockey.
The NFL has informed its teams the new salary cap for this coming season, $182.5 million per squad. That's down 8%. Cap limits had risen every year since 2011. Less than 48 hours after Kansas parted ways with head football coach Les Miles, the university athletic director Jeff Long made a similar mutual decision. Long had hired Miles in 2018. The NBA is back. Well, from its All-Star break, 4 teams are. Memphis playing Washington, Dallas hosting San Antonio this evening. In college conference tournament play, Butler rallies in the second half to beat Xavier in overtime in the first round of the Big East tournament. And Duke wins again, second straight day in the ACC tourney. The Blue Devils knock off Louisville by the final of 70-56. Coming up on many ESPN radio stations, it's the ACC Notre Dame against North Carolina.
Hey, it's Greeny, and do not miss Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, live with me at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, talking about the 1-year anniversary of the day sports stopped. That's with me, Greeny, on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
You know how they introduced the Queen, where she's like,
yes,
Her Majesty, Queen of the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, and whatever else they say.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
It has, for the time being, stopped raining out here at the Kansas City Power and Light District, as we're between the 2 games of the night, just across the street at the T-Mobile Center, which I think so far I've got the right name on every time. K-State beat TCU earlier this evening. Iowa State, Oklahoma up next, and we will continue to talk about all sorts of things happening across the street there and around the sports world, and really the world, actually, in this segment. Over the course of this show tonight, the station all week long, and all of our live coverage of the Big 12 Tournament and Championship Week will be brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomer's. I'm out here broadcasting live from the Kansas City Live, not the stage. That would have been much louder, and at this point, much wetter. But I am just on the edge of the KC Live little area there. I can see the T-Mobile Center from here. I can see the steps down into the KC Live area, and if you want to come out tonight or over the course of the week, it's been a pretty cool vibe out here so far. It did get very rainy for a while, but that stopped, and so now everything's cool again. We will talk about all sorts of things now here with Breland Moore of KCTV5. You can follow her on Twitter at Breland KCTV5. Only one E in Breland. Don't make the mistake that I've never made. I've only gotten it right up to this point. Breland, how have you enjoyed the kickoff of the Big 12 tournament that so far, knock on wood, is happening, will continue to happen, and I'd put money on it actually finishing this year?
Yeah, I would hope so, right? I think it is kind of funny, and we'll obviously talk about this later, that I was talking to Danny Welniak as we were outside for our live hits for 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. We were kind of camped out right in the front there near the box office, and I told her we were here around this time last year when the entire world just fell to pieces. And unfortunately, today we also kind of had some weirdness going on. So Big 12 tournaments, I am 0 for 2 to just have a normal day because it's just been nothing but weird for me every single time. But I hope at least this time the weirdness isn't going to delay the entire rest of the thing. I am so thrilled to potentially even see a day 2 of this thing. So, so far so good, right?
Yeah, and I that's sort of where I started at the very beginning of the show tonight, because I'm literally, Rudy's not here. Rudy's back at the studio. Hi, Rudy.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Breland.
Hello.
I'm in the studio now alone, as opposed to last year with both of us in here, where we were broadcasting as the sports world was shutting down. And so it's been, and last year, honestly, I mean, obviously, again, this is spread out and like everyone's wearing a mask. And if you just would have seen this reality a year ago, you would have been rightfully very concerned about how things had gone. But last year, it just got so hectic. Like, I just remember seeing Mayor Lucas walking around at one point, looking very concerned. It's like, this is the beginning of a movie that does not go very well for most of the people in it. Like, it was a very, very weird atmosphere. And this year, at least so far, like, it's kind of a nice vibe. It's not super overcrowded. Everyone's respecting everyone else's space. It's a little rainy. Right now, they don't know probably because there's a divider in the window. I can see 2 people skipping across the intersection. No one was skipping last year at this time. No one was skipping at all.
At all. Yeah, it's definitely been, a treat to kind of see some sort of semblance of normalcy here after such a strange year that we've had.
Yeah.
And, keep in mind, guys, we weren't allowed to go to anything this year. We weren't allowed to be in the press box for Chiefs games. So it's just been a very strange, sterile environment for the past 365, 366 days, because it's literally a year ago today. Everything just went, kaput. But, it's just great to be out there. And like I said, it's just refreshing to finally be able to potentially see what the Big 12 tournament is all about, even though I'm not getting the full experience, with a full crowd capacity and everything else. I still am just excited to see what's going on in there and to actually be able to crown a champion at the end of this.
I've got several non-Big 12 tournament-related things I certainly want to talk to you about, but one thing I just realized, and I don't know what exactly you've been doing over the course of the last several hours, but I did not see almost any of K-State TCU, and I know that K-State got maybe its most, will certainly really be its most sort of memorable, hopefully, positive dismount to this season, even if tomorrow doesn't go quite so well. Did you get a good look at K-State TCU tonight and K-State getting a blowout victory in the Big 12 tournament after a very difficult season?
I actually, unfortunately, didn't, and I feel terrible about it because we were outside when the game was going on, still doing live hits for our newscast, and then, of course, we have the locker room show on our sister station at KSMO at 7 o'clock. So we didn't really get a chance at all to, by the time we got back to the station, it was go time for the locker room show. So I didn't really get a chance to look at that. But, regardless of what happened when it comes to Baylor, I'm just very happy for K-State that they were able to get a win in the Big 12 tournament. I know that it's been a very tough year for them, especially, those younger players. And honestly, even Mike McGurl has said it's been extremely challenging emotionally and whatnot to continue and not get dismayed or down on yourself or down on your team. And so just to be able for them to have a postseason victory, I think that is so cool. That's
more and better K-State analysis than we've given at any other point this season, so I will take it. You mentioned that it's nice to have a little bit of a sense of normalcy. I'll say that not a lot of things in Kansas City sports at this point have been more normal than KU football falling just flat on its own face and making a huge mess of things. What was unique this time is the unique way that it all unfolded, and it kind of was KU's fault, and kind of wasn't. All of the Les Miles allegations obviously came from his time at LSU, but he never was apparently vetted well enough for those things to pop up in his hiring process that we know was at least a little bit of a facade, a little bit of a sham, because Jeff Long, under oath, could not name anyone else that KU had interviewed. So it was always going to be Les Miles. We don't have to protect KU and Jeff Long's sensibilities in that instance,
right.
But obviously we saw the unraveling of all of that very quickly. They part ways with Les Miles. Les Long might just be That might just be the headline of the book.
Yeah.
In a while. They part ways with Les Miles. Then Jeff Long comes out and has one of the world's weirdest press conferences, and then now he is out as well. What have you found most interesting over this saga that's unfolded over the last week or so?
Yeah, I think it is the Jeff Long thing, right? And I don't know, I cannot speak for KU and their hiring process and how things work and whatnot, but I can speak for another competitive industry, which is, of course, the industry that we all work in. And it is so small whenever some news director that, has either had me in their newsrooms directly or just kind of knows me from being out in the field, or, if a sports director from a competitor station wants to hire somebody from Temple University, where I went to school, that I might know, I immediately get a text, hey, what can you tell me about this person? Is there any red flags about them that I should be concerned about? Or, what's their work ethic like? You went to school with them. How are they, personally? Yeah. I can't imagine that doesn't happen in a very small competitive environment like Division I sports. Everybody knows everyone, and it's a very small network of people. And so I just find it really shocking that no one at all from LSU went to Kansas and said, hey, just a heads up, there was some other stuff going on there. You just want to be aware. That's very, very shocking to me, and I don't really see how that happens. It very well could, and I'm not picking one side or another. I just think that in particular situation is just very odd to me. Does that make that make you guys also kind of pause a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very much so. He was Jeff Long was an AD in the same conference as Les Miles was coaching in, and the former AD at LSU wanted to fire Les Miles for cause. Like all Jeff Long had to do would be to talk to the former AD at LSU. And unless that guy just was in his own group text was saying, hey guys, watch this. I'm going to tell Jeff Long that Les Miles is totally clear and good to go here. Watch this collapse stuff, which would be a pretty good troll job. I don't think he would have a particular reason to do that. But it is in the most literal sense of the word, I think. It is relatively unbelievable to think that that with any significant effort that you wouldn't find that out. Now, I do think what we have to probably be careful about is was it malicious or was it ignorance? But either way, that dude should not have been picking your next head coach, because there was a huge misstep, either in that's no big deal, and cover up, whatever, or I don't need to look that close in Les Miles. He's my friend. We've been friends for 30 years until you heard from him yesterday, when really they were just sort of only kind of friends.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Either way, and either way the pendulum swings on that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there wasn't a clear vetting, because if this stuff existed, they would have found that out if they had thoroughly vetted Les Miles in the first place, and that obviously did not happen. So, go ahead.
This part of it may not be relevant anymore because Jeff Long is gone, but you've been around enough press conferences. What did you think of how all that unfolded yesterday? Because I really, I have thought about that more than I think about most press conferences, for all of the reasons I found it odd. I'm curious if you had a similar experience at all.
Well, I have to be very honest. I was off yesterday, so I just got the Cliff Notes version online.
Unacceptable.
Yes. I'm sorry that I had some things to do, like laundry and cook.
Rudy, say the thing about your laundry. Say the line.
Oh, how so I'm trying to map out when I can do laundry. I don't have a lot of clean clothes left. I think I can tomorrow.
It's just come up so
I'm trying.
often.
I'm trying. I'm going to try to tomorrow.
You might have to get on that. But so I only kind of saw the kind of best of the best there on Twitter and going through a little bit. And it was, from my understanding, it was very bizarre. Was that kind of what you came away with as well?
Yeah, and it's just it was bizarre for the tone of some things. It was bizarre that he was out there. It was bizarre that Sam Mellinger, in his journalistic credibility and kindness, was very gentle, but asking about how all of his recent hires have been failures, and he got defensive about it. It was just extremely, extremely strange.
Yeah, and the fact that Kansas would let him go out there. And I mean, I guess who's going to tell the athletic director not to go?
23 hours later, he was fired. Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it was just kind of strange that nobody was like, hey, yeah, probably not a good idea to do this today. And again, how are you going to tell the athletic director to not hold a press conference about, something very serious without telling the athletic director, hey, man, we have to have the talk right now? The whole thing was just very, very strange. And, again, I wasn't completely in it. I did not hear the entirety, but just reading some of the things that came out, it very much was reminiscent of, and I don't know, this is a little bit of a colloquial reference that you guys might not remember, but when the Buffalo Bills fired Rex Ryan, they put their general manager, who was Doug Whaley at the time, on the podium. Doug Whaley, and, we should have seen the writing on the wall there, because Doug Whaley was very much fired maybe a couple of months later. But the entire time he was up there, and this is the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, we're trying to get information on what happened with Rex Ryan, when was this decided, this, that, and the other thing. And the entire conversation, he just kept saying, well, I'm not privy to this I wasn't privy to that conversation. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't privy to that. And finally, someone who I will not name from the Buffalo News was so frustrated. He was like, Doug, what is your job duty here? What do you do at the Buffalo Bills? Because you have it was so bizarre that he had no answer. And it's like, what are we doing here? What do you actually do for a living here? Because if you're not involved in these conversations, what are you doing? And that was kind of the vibe that I got from, the things I was reading on Twitter. It was that level of bizarre. Like, what is going on here?
And for Jeff Long, he was taking questions about, like, what's next? Like, hey, what is the hiring process of the next head coach going to be? As if it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, and listen, if he's at the podium, you ask those questions, I get it, but it just doesn't make any sense. It's just been an absolutely bonkers storyline the whole way through. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's been and I feel terrible for Kansas men's basketball team. I mean, goodness, you have 24 hours to prepare to enter postseason play, and all of this is going on surrounding it. Like, goodness, I'm sure it's very difficult for them to concentrate on the task at hand when so much stuff is constantly popping off at that school over the past couple of days.
And also now they're going into the tournament without David McCormick or Tristan Inaruna, which is obviously yet another thing.
COVID problems.
Right. I mean, and that has been essentially relegated to not even close to one of the two biggest stories out of Kansas athletics, like narrowed in that much. And I don't know if that one intrigues you particularly one way or the other. I think I'm almost never terribly stressed out about conference championship or conference tournaments for teams that aren't either fighting for a 1 seed or trying to get in the tournament. KU obviously is somewhere in between there, but it does have to make you at least a little bit nervous about just what the state of those guys and really the team as a whole is going to be going into the tournament, because they're not going to be able to play with David McCormick here. And Bill Self sounded extremely confident that he and Inaruna were both going to be back in time for the NCAA tournament. But that's a little bit hard for me to totally take on face value.
Well, yeah, and you don't actually ever know about these things. It's so up in the air when it comes to the ultimate variable. What did Andy Reid call it? The ultimate game of dodgeball, right? You never quite know what's going to happen with COVID. So, of course, Bill Self has that optimistic confidence, but we really don't know what happened. But, yeah, you're right. The fact that didn't even rank in the top two of what is going on this week is absolutely incredible. And I feel terrible for the players that, again, having to concentrate in the midst of, like, all of this wild gossip going on. But at the same time, it's like, wow, like, how on earth do you enter Big 12 tournament week and I'm leading with something that's not Big 12 tournament related at all in every single newscast? So it's just been quite a week, and I'm sure the athletic department staff at Kansas is going to sleep very well once this is all over, because holy, what an experience.
Not only are you of course our expert on so many things across the Kansas City area sports spectrum. That's a foregone conclusion. You are also our exclusive expert on all things royal family, royal history, really just basically any monarchy of any sort. I will ask you about. I genuinely just missed a bunch of the things that happened around the royal family in this last week. I know what I did definitely catch enough of was that most of it was quite serious and not very funny radio fodder quality stuff, which is a pretty big. I did catch that much, that it's probably not a bunch of goofs and ha-has, but I would genuinely love some your best translation, your best Cliff's notes as to what has unfolded in terms of the royal family over the last several days. I didn't watch any of the Oprah interview. That's where I'm at right now, just so you know.
Okay, well, you have to watch the Oprah interview. I think that's something that is going to be, that was probably, honestly, the interview of the decade, right? And it's so different because when Princess Diana went through this stuff, she echoed very similar sentiments to what Meghan and Harry have now shared with the world. Not quite, but very, very similar to the point where it was enough comparison that it's okay, if you at the time dismissed Diana for being dramatic or something, here is someone else now saying almost verbatim how they felt working in the royal family and living in the royal family, and that, they weren't helping and all this stuff. So it was so explosive that I gotta be honest, I don't really know how the royal family comes back from something like that. That was insane. And in a good way. I mean, props to Meghan and Harry. They put a lot on the line for trying to just air their truth. But it's going to be so interesting to see how the royal family reacts or doesn't react to this. I think they almost have to, at this point, do something in response. I did release a very small statement saying that they're taking the concern seriously and looking into it, this, that, and the other thing. But I think it needs to go beyond that. And if they don't have a big enough response, I think their future's in jeopardy. And I'm not even remotely kidding on that, because that's how explosive that thing was.
Okay, so this is exactly what I needed. What would that mean? Because I understand that the royal family this is not the 1800s. They are not making all of I actually don't know if they were still making all the rules in the 1800s. I'm showing all of my ignorance on this.
No, they weren't. But it's okay.
That was not long enough. These aren't the 1400s? Was it still the same family?
Yes, 1400s. Yeah. There was a little bit of an issue, roughly around the time America was becoming a country. So, and that's kind of when things.
That's a great point.
Changed, so.
Yeah,
yes.
I could have used that as the watermark. I could have at least gone pre-1776 and just been totally safe there. Yeah, no, I mean, listen.
I've never heard of this moment in history. Can we we learn about it?
This is the most I've ever.
About the execution of Charles I?
Oh man, I really don't know what that is. I was doing
Was that starring Mel Gibson?
Did that turn
was
into
Braveheart.
Did that turn into a rap musical?
Yeah, no. I think you're thinking about Six, which is the Six Wives of Anne Boleyn, or of Henry VIII, including Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon. No, so there was an issue where, the Crown didn't want to give up power, and Parliament was like, all right, it's time to, you can't be making these rules. And eventually it ended up, they killed the king. And then they kind of felt bad about it, and so then they reinstated the monarchy, but made it very much like what they have right now, where essentially Parliament takes control of everything. They make the laws and things like that, and then the monarch and their family, so obviously the Queen and her family, are essentially figureheads where they represent, and they do have some power, like the Queen opens Parliament, things like that. She still has certain rights and privileges. All of the passports are issued in her name, all the driver's license. That's why she doesn't have one of either, because she's not going to, it says by issue of Her Majesty the Queen on all passports. Why does she need to issue herself one? So she doesn't have a passport or a driver's license. That's a fun fact. She can drive, though. But, that's kind of how the monarchy... Yeah, the monarchy has kind of been that figureheadish type of thing. And throughout the course of history, their power has, been a little more influential, been a little less, but that's kind of when things have happened. So really and truthfully, if the monarchy were to go kaput, not a whole lot would honestly change in Britain. There's obviously the currency problem with the Queen's face on everything, but beyond that, they don't really do a ton. It's more of a tourism type of thing where, you know, instead of sending your prime minister who might be controversial to open up a hospital, you send the Queen because she's apolitical and everybody likes her. She's just kind of there, and she's a representative of the sovereign state in the Commonwealth. Once they go away, then you just do what America does and send your prime minister or somebody else of prominence. So yeah, it's going to be a hot mess, guys. I truly believe that Meghan and Harry did something there that it's going to be has some sort of permanent impact. Either they change their ways and they really get it together, or I don't know, man. Buckingham Palace is going to be turned into a grocery store. That's what the meme is going around on Instagram. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I haven't.
So I have a question. So
yeah,
basically, England at some point decided that men are ruining the world, so death to the king, all hail the queen. Because that's ahead of their time. I'll give them that. Is that what happened?
Was it a king-centric problem? Was it specifically that king that I just learned about today?
Yeah, so, okay. So, in 1649, the High Court of Justice in Parliament declared Charles guilty of essentially like tyrannical power because he's not listening to anybody or anything. And so that's why they, offed him. I couldn't think of a nicer way to say that.
I just am trying to figure out what you do. How do you turn Buckingham Palace into a grocery store? Does that run through Parliament, I guess? Does everyone just say we're done with all of this?
I don't really know. That's the meme that's going around, because I follow like British memes, which is like an Instagram account, and like some other like British-centric things. And everyone's now, after the interview, has been editing Buckingham Palace to look like a Tesco's, which is like a grocery store. And they're like, mega Tesco's going at Buckingham Palace, summer 2022. So that's kind of the running joke that's going on now. But it's going to be really interesting to see. And I'm super curious to know what the UK thinks now, because I haven't really seen a poll, but I did hear on Good Morning Britain the other day that it was very divided by age. Like people our age are very much like, yeah, nah, we're cool with this. They do much more harm than good. But older people are still on the Queen bandwagon. So it's gonna be fun to see. Also, keep in mind the Queen's 94, so that could also change some things. Yeah.
Beards, I have a question for you really quick. How many times has the word Buckingham made you absolutely fall out of your chair in fear?
Once or twice.
Because the first time, Breland, the first time you said Buckingham with kind of no surrounding context, I got nervous, which means that Beards may have had some form of heart palpitation.
Why?
Buckingham with a B. The first letter of the word Buckingham is a B.
Oh, yeah.
And I want everyone listening to know that, and that's what we're talking. We're talking about the big palace that's going to become a grocery store.
Buckingham Palace.
It's every single time you.
London.
I feel like we could all probably emphasize the B there a little more strongly, because every time it makes me slightly nervous, and so I'm very much worried for Beards.
I promise you, it is very much G-rated. It's just where Her Madge lives. That's all.
Just do people call her Madge? That can't be real.
No, I just did. But yeah, usually just abbreviated HM. Her
Madge the Q, I feel like is she needs a rebranding. Clearly, let's get hashtag Her Madge trending. I think that might solve it all.
Yeah, she needs to be a little hipper, like a little more with it with the new generation. Maybe that'll help. She did tweet for the first time like 2 years ago, so she's working on it.
Yeah, but what
yeah,
she
I know.
tweeted was, "You'll never take me alive," which I felt very hostile at the time.
And Harry's like, well, Grandma, we only have to wait a couple years. She's a 94.
Thank you, Breland. I want you to go on that. That's a good dismount right there. Thank you for spending this segment with us and for explaining so many things that we don't know about.
You are so welcome. And if you guys have questions about the monarchy, please feel free to shoot me a little text or tweet, and I can answer some more, because I didn't want to take up your time talking about some things that in the grand scheme of life people don't care about. But it is interesting.
The two things we had the option of talking about there was this massive international story that I know nothing about that you're very educated on, or Jeff Long getting fired. Like, you want to talk about meaningless in the grand scheme of things. And we did do both. I feel like we did our job.
I agree.
Thank you, Breland. We'll talk to you again soon. Hashtag
Yes,
revenge.
of course. Yes.
That's Her Majesty Breland Moore here, because we can have a new Majesty at this point. I feel like Queen's out of here. Let's just start. I would say we could start voting for a new one, but that's not very monarchical or whatever. Anyway.
We're just deciding then. The show is in charge of this. We've decided.
All right.
Breland's the new Queen of England.
Breland Moore. She can change her Twitter handle from @Breland KCTV5, which it is right now, 1E, to Her Maj Bree.
And
there you go.
She no longer needs a driver's license. Throw it away.
Good fact. Or a passport.
Yeah, don't need it.
Because the Queen gives them out.
By the way, I have one quick Twitch comment before we go to break.
Please.
Aspen58 says, call it Buckingham's. I'm sure they have a good deli counter.
Ooh, wow. Buckingham's, the grocery store.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm very much down with that.
It also sounds like maybe
enunciated.
if grocery store doesn't work out, if they just like find out that, hey, this is not a viable business. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good club, honestly.
Wow.
Bowling alley.
Beards. Beards. Come on. We're trying. Beards.
Put a bowling. Make
It's big enough.
Beards. We're trying to reach the millennials here.
Put a bowling alley in one wing. Put a roller skating rink in the other.
Beards.
Do you think that it has a bowling alley already? Because the White House has a bowling alley.
Make a movie theater.
No way it has
Put
a
a movie
bowling
theater
alley.
in another wing. Make it a big mall.
No. It does, that place has nothing. I feel like that place is very they have not changed any. They have not done any interior decorating since 1776.
It's got 775 rooms and an ATM and an indoor swimming pool.
Okay, maybe it's got something.
It looks like
you can knock a few walls down and make a bowling alley.
I don't think you can knock walls down in Buckingham Palace with a B.
No, Beards. You make it
Whoa,
a
hold
club.
on. Now, Rudy, kind of for you here. Now we're gonna have to roll it back a little bit because there's a question on Google here that says, do they still smoke in Buckingham Palace? And it says smoking in Buckingham Palace has been prohibited since 2007.
What kind of smoking?
That's exactly. See, this is the question.
Because cigarette smoke, we don't need that in here. We're trying to have a healthy, we don't want the air being polluted.
But
and
if
we're
Queen
talking
was
about
420 blaze it.
I mean, who am I to say no?
If you want to blaze it with Her Maj, I feel like that should be an option that people have, and I feel like at that point, the monarchy may return to power again.
Leave your driver's license at home.
I have one more comment. It is again from Aspen58. It says, it'll need a bull riding machine, but it's shaped like a pig. A Buckingham, if you will.
Let's take a break.
Oh, I like that.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
It's Mr. Truck KC, Tim Grunny Grunhard. Everybody knows I love trucks. Right now, I'm helping my friends at Roberts Robinson by personally delivering a vehicle every month to one lucky customer. Buy from Roberts Robinson, and you can get me, Grunny, to deliver a vehicle to your house with a surprise gift. There's a reason why customers say, just make it easy. Check out the Shop Click Drive to shop online. It's easy. 1, select that vehicle. 2, create your deal. 3, schedule your delivery. Boom, it's there. The Certified Service Department is open for appointments and offering first responder discounts for firefighters, police, EMTs, 911 dispatchers, and healthcare professionals. Roberts Robinson wants to buy your used car. If you're looking to trade in that used car, let us give you top dollar trade-in value. So Mr. Truck says, come see why they make it easy. Call 816-630-3151 or go online at robertsrobinson.com. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Another season of frigid temperatures is finally behind us. But with the good comes some bad, because another winter in the books means another year of wear and tear on your roof. Greg Gurley here. Wouldn't it be nice to sleep well knowing you can trust the roof over your head? You can with the company I trust, Buck Roofing. Buck Roofing has fixed the roof over my mom's head and thousands of KC homeowners and commercial buildings. Jayhawks, Wildcats, and Tigers all agree that Buck Roofing is simply the best in Kansas City. Ron and his team are experts in residential, commercial roofing, and they can do your gutters too. Don't just take my word for it. Check their rating with Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. Buck Roofing will do only the work that needs to be done, and you can trust that you are getting a fair bid. Put this number in your phone now, 913-384-2680. That's 913-384-2680, or online at ourbuckroofing.com. And sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head.
The weather has changed, and next thing you know, you'll need to switch your furnace to AC. There is no better time than now to get a new AC. And this month only, you can get a new furnace for free to go with it. That's right. Buy a new AC and get a new furnace for free. Call the folks at Anthony and get ready for spring and summer while saving a lot of cash. That's Anthony, the technicians KC has trusted for 70 years. Get more information at anthonyphce.com.
Attention, men. Over half of you will suffer from erectile dysfunction. There is a solution. The Kansas City Men's Clinic. If you're having trouble getting or maintaining an erection or both, and regardless of age, medical condition, or performance issue, they can help. Call the Kansas City Men's Clinic today. For a limited time, a confidential consultation and all testing is only $99. Call 816-608-8189. That's 816-608-8189. Or go to thekansascitymensclinic.com.
When you're thinking about New Orleans, why not let jazz cook for you?
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. That's what we do at Jazz. Papa Vic here to tell you about what's happening at your favorite restaurant, Jazz, a Louisiana kitchen. COVID still got you down? No worries. We're open. Come in and let Jazz cook for you. We've partnered with Proactive Protect to provide nanotechnology protection that sanitizes all our tables, chairs, and the interior of the restaurant. So come on in. Everybody is safe. Tired of your mama's cooking? Check out our website, jazzkitchens.com, and place your order online or through MenuFi. Not comfortable coming in? Check out our dedicated curbside parking spots, and we'll bring the taste of New Orleans to your car. 3 locations, the original at 39th and State Line, and at Legends of Village West, our newest location in Independence at I-70 and 291, just east of the Cable Dahmer Arena. Jazz, with a Dixieland band and a sultry day and everybody.
Yes, if you're dreaming about New Orleans, let jazz do your cooking up for you.
Jazz, where there's always a party every night.
Live coverage of the Big 12 Tournament and Championship Week is brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomer's. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Listen, as much as Beards is afraid of getting in trouble around anything political, Beards also was almost like a history teacher, so we might have gotten a little something out of him there.
True. God, could you imagine Beards teaching kids?
That's why I didn't do it.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
We are live from the Kansas City Live, not stage. What are we going to call that area? Kansas City Live District's not quite right. It's Power and Life District.
Yeah, it's the KC Live stage.
That's what I'm not really at the stage.
The pit.
So I mean, you are in the McFadden studio across from the T-Mobile Center.
We're live from the McFadden studio across from the T-Mobile Center here outside the Kansas City Live stage here in the Power and Light District as a part of our week-long coverage of the Big 12 Tournament and Championship Week, which is all brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomer's. How'd I do?
B+.
Yeah, I'll take it. A tweet popped up earlier today that I went and I immediately checked on this for myself, but I'm curious what you guys think your answer would be here.
C.
Well, you're gonna lose a lot of money on this one, I think.
Oh God.
Mick Shaver just retweeted it, and that's why I saw. It's why I saw this tweet once again. Someone puts a blank map of the United States of America in front of you. It's got the state lines.
I did see this.
You have a chance to win up to $50 million. $1 million for every state you can correctly identify. The catch, if you get one wrong, you get nothing, but you can leave blanks. How much money are you making, or when do you walk away? What I did immediately was I pulled up a Sporkle quiz, and I just started. I was directly typing names of states that went to the state I was looking at, to definitely make sure I was getting it all right. And I had a number that I walked away from because honestly, part of me would be so afraid of me bleeping up that I would just write Texas and then leave. Because that's.
I mean, I know I can get Kansas.
Sure. But I'm afraid that I might point at Colorado by accident because I'm worried about losing $1 million.
I was wanting $46 million.
Right. But I'll
think
tell
I
you
could
this.
get Hawaii and Alaska.
Hawaii and Alaska actually weren't on the list, so I would have added them to my total number. In fact, I'll circle them in if you want. Here's the thing. I'll tell you where I'm at.
I'm playing this game right now.
I know where Canada's at.
That's unfortunately that won't be a state, so that could be bad for you. Here's the thing. In the northeast.
No, the northeast
I got Maine and New York 100%.
I know.
I get nervous.
I know where. I know Pennsylvania. I see Delaware. I see New York. But there's a lot of.
If you click the wrong one for Delaware,
I
here's the thing.
I don't. I know I wouldn't. I've been in. I've been in the state of Delaware. I know. I got Delaware. That's easy. Delaware's an easy one for me. But there's that little bundle there to the right of New York. Oh boy.
I think that I could, if I was really going to push the whole way through, get through like 40 and say, you know what, I feel like I could get to 40 pretty reasonably, but I got to, if I count Alaska and Hawaii, I got to 19 before I said, I will take my $19 million and not worry about which one is Montana and which one is Wyoming.
I got that down too.
I didn't even do like Minnesota. I got to 19 and went, that's where I would leave the money. If you said you have to get 40 to get any money, I think I could do it, honestly. But I got to 17, or I got to 19 counting Hawaii and Alaska, and I said I'm good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, just kind of looking at the map. I'm very confident I would get to 25 to 30 before I would ever start to like have any I think I could get to 30 just super easy, no problem, just boom, 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 boom. And then I think about 30 is where I'd be like, I'm pretty sure this state is blank, but I'm a little bit wary, so I'm gonna, just like step aside.
I literally just did the Sporkle quiz and I got 46, and then I went, okay, I've got Vermont, New Hampshire, Delaware, and Connecticut left. I know where they are. I just don't want to flip the two.
That northeast,
I said, I'm happy with $46 million.
It's that little portion of the northeast that gets it can get a little tricky.
I was as good at maps, so that's easy for me.
Yeah, I think I've got the West Coast and the Midwest, and maybe I can see Florida and Louisiana. See, like which one is which one is Alabama? Which direction does Alabama face? I'll let somebody else.
Alabama has the little tail on it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two states back to back that have little tails on them. They just face different.
Alabama's on the right.
Yes.
Mississippi's on the left.
Yes. And then Georgia's to the right of Alabama, which is right
knew
above
which one
Florida.
was Georgia. Yeah. I think I might. There's a decent chance that I would have.
Mississippi
flipped.
connects to Arkansas and Louisiana.
I think there's a chance that I would have flipped Arkansas and Mississippi.
You mean Alabama?
And would have lost.
Oh, Arkansas. Yeah, gotcha.
$35 million.
Here's the easy part with Alabama. You just remember it's essentially right. It's the Alabama Georgia line, like Gulf Shores. That's what I was trying to think of.
Gulf Shores is fun.
What are you talking about?
Isn't like Gulf Shores like right
Gulf
near
Shores, Alabama? Yeah,
like right near the border of like Alabama, Georgia.
I believe so. Yeah.
I don't know what that is, and I don't know why
it's a beach area.
Yeah, sorry, it's a beach area. Yeah.
I've been a few times.
It's like a very popular beach area. Like
World Traveler Beards McFly, I guess.
I mean, I don't know about World Traveler. I'm surprised you've never heard of Gulf Shores, Alabama.
I don't think I have.
I mean, it's fine. I'm just surprised.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
There's something that I have.
It's like the Myrtle Beach of the Southeast, like South. Because obviously South Carolina is in the. Because South Carolina is is technically in the South, but obviously it's not like South. It's like it's the redneck Myrtle Beach.
There's something interesting going on right now that Scott Chasen just tweeted about. I'd seen this start a little bit. I've now lost the tweet, so this might take a moment.
I'll stall real fast for you. So
Okay.
you remember Jersey Shore, right? I think.
I was not a religious watcher.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I've
you know
ever
what
seen
it.
an
But
episode,
you know what it is.
it.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
So like, I think it was CMTV, the country music TV station or whatever. They had the same show, but it was in Gulf Shores. It was there. It was the Shores, I think is what they called it.
So Gulf Shores is Jersey Shore on the Country Music Channel.
Yes.
I understand it perfectly.
It is.
I have a perfect understanding.
It is the country version of Jersey Shore. That's honestly the best description of it.
So what Scott tweeted out, I've got the tweet with the actual number here now. I had seen a couple of tweets right as we were starting to talk to Breland, but it was literally just 2 of them. Now it looks like that number has inflated considerably. Here's the tweet from Scott Chasen. At least 15 current Kansas football players have thrown their support behind Emmett Jones as Kansas football looks to name its interim coach. Emmett Jones is the wide receivers coach and passing game coordinator for KU. There's no chance on planet Earth that they're going to name him the permanent head coach while they don't have an athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
But as they're looking for not only a new football coach, but also for a new AD, it's more than kind of interesting. I think it's extremely interesting that there is a coordinated effort clearly among KU players right now saying, hey, put Emmett Jones in this spot instead of Mike DeBoard, who just got here.
Yeah.
Because Mike DeBoard was named the acting interim head coach a few days ago.
I think just the active coach, meaning that they haven't even hired the interim coach.
Correct.
And here's the thing: it makes sense. Like part of what makes for a good interim coach is it's usually somebody who has a relationship with the players. And this isn't even a knock on DeBoard. It's just he just hasn't been there,
right?
Like to develop a relationship. Like the players may end up loving him. But but in all seriousness, like how many meetings has he had with players? I imagine not a lot because the coaches aren't allowed to spend a ton of time with players at this point of the year.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting, and some of them, at least a couple of them, were essentially copied and pasted.
And
which makes me think there's a group chat somewhere, with KU
For
players
sure.
saying, "Hey, let's use our voice a little bit," which is really interesting.
And Emmett Jones has known these kids since they were 14, 15 years old. Like he has built relationships with not just with them but with their family. So it's like it makes perfect sense why you would want that guy to at the very least hold things hold things down while you figure out what's next.
I mean, there's also I think that there's a recruit still incoming at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott notes that he's impressed both as a wide receivers coach and as a recruiter. Known for his ties in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Jones helped the Jayhawks land 4-star edge rusher Stephen Parker in Miles' first recruiting class. He also recruited 4-star wideout Quay Davis, the highest-ranked signee in program history. Even beyond that, he's not just the receivers coach. He's not just the passing game coordinator. This dude's got some recruiting juice behind him, apparently. There's a chance that he ends up. I don't want to say that there's no chance he's the permanent choice at any point. There's just not going to be a permanent choice anytime soon, I'd imagine. I think that process gets further delayed without Jeff Long because you're now also searching
You have to hire
for a
AD
new
first.
AD. But this certainly bears watching, and it's very interesting to see KU players kind of voice their perspective this way.
I would say, unfortunately, there probably is no chance he's the permanent head coach, and there's that's a long, complicated road to go down. But I would hope, at the very least, depending on how long he is the interim coach, he gets the opportunity. Which, and if we're going back to the whole active coach thing again, this is Jeff Long put somebody in charge who was a friend, but not like really a friend because they really didn't spend that much time in Michigan. Yeah, but a friend, somebody who's just known for like 30 years, but not really a friend.
Beards, I know we got to take a break, but let me say real quick here. One example that I would say, I agree that it's an incredibly long shot that he would end up being the permanent head coach. But if we go about 3 hours south and west a little bit, I would have said something very similar about Isaac Brown, who just won
For sure.
Coach of the Year in Wichita State's conference and was the interim head coach after Greg Marshall was scooted out of there in a similar form of disgrace, actually.
Yeah, some of the difference would be is
not apples to apples.
Yeah,
not apples to apples in any way. Just
you had to have success, and KU. I mean, I don't know if Emmett Jones is going to be the interim coach for a full season and actually get to run the program because that changes things. If he gets a chance to actually run the program for a year, then he has a chance to actually show, hey, this is why I should be the head coach. The odds of them going on and winning the Big 12 or even winning a game in the Big 12 is essentially it doesn't look good, and that's not his fault. It just may be the reason why why they go look elsewhere.
But I do think that firing Jeff Long increases the chance that they will have an interim head coach for the entirety of 2021.
For sure.
And so that if I was in Emmett Jones's shoes, I would want that opportunity. Which is the exact kind of guy that also right now you would say, who wants the KU job? Well, if Emmett Jones is going to be there for another year, better to be the head coach of that team and see what you can build there with, if it's just your relationships with coaches and players around you. I think there might be some value in that.
What I hope happens is, obviously, whoever the next coach is, let's say they hire somebody before the season even does start. Maybe, let's say they get somebody. Emmett Jones has to become priority number one because keeping Emmett Jones is what allows you to keep recruits. And also, putting Emmett Jones, if he's the passing game coordinator, putting Emmett Jones in a chance to show, hey, this is what I can do offensively. And maybe I would, especially if you're a coach who's getting hired now, you're gonna have a hard time putting, maybe the ideal staff together. Give him a chance to run the offense, see what he can do.
Yeah. At this point, KU has no business turning away talent that the players like. So
reward him for being one of the few coaches at Kansas who seems to be really good at his job.
And is well liked. Yeah, that's a tough thing to find right now in the football program in Lawrence. I am live right now from the Power and Light District, just across the street from the T-Mobile Center. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll talk about something else. David Lesky in about 10 minutes here on Sports Radio 810.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players. You can lose those pandemic pounds and get into shape before the warmer weather, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, and they have a location close by, right off 435 by the corner of College and Metcalf. Call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Save on your next project with 11% off everything. Now at Menards. DuraClean is an interior paint and primer in one that offers a washable, scrubbable, and stain-resistant finish. Pick up a gallon of flat paint today for only $19.98 after 11% rebate. Save with 11% off everything. Now at Menards. Good through Saturday, March 13th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Love the new car smell but think the car shopping process stinks? Check out OneRequest.com. Hi, this is Eric Westfall. We started OneRequest in Kansas City to make car shopping easy. We have over 5 million new and used listings. And with OneRequest, you don't share your personal information with sellers until you want to, which means you control your car shopping experience. We even have a concierge service for those who want the VIP treatment. Experience car shopping made easy. Request your car today at OneRequest.com.
OneRequest is not responsible for what you do with all the time you save.
the home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Here comes Ochai, 3-on-1. A lob to Mitch. Deep catch. Goes up and under. And he got it to fall. 2 more for Lightfoot.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Death, taxes, and the Jayhawks win it on senior night.
Tomorrow, Kansas starts their Big 12 tournament run against the winner of Iowa State and Oklahoma. Tip-off at 5:30 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
With its dedication to bringing wellness to Kansas City, CBD American Shaman is excited to announce the opening of Shaman's Leewood Total Wellness at 117th and Row in Camelot Court. Shaman's Leewood Total Wellness offers medical aesthetics and IV nutrient therapy, and there is a full-service CBD American Shaman store there too. Start your journey to wellness with Shaman's Leewood Total Wellness. Call 913-227-9150 or go to shamantotalwellness.com. Life is better with the feather.
Premier Mazda of Kansas City, where you can save thousands on new 2021 Mazdas. All new 2021 Mazda 6 Touring, just $269 a month. Mazda CX-5 Touring for just $289, and the Mazda CX-9 Grand Touring, just $389 a month. The deals don't stop there. Get the 2021 Mazda CX-30 Premium Package for just $249 a month and as low as 0% APR for up to 48 months. Come to the #1 Mazda dealer in KC, Premier Mazda of Kansas City, home of the Premier Promise. Right past State Line and 135th or at PremierMazdaKC.com. See dealer for details.
Is finding the clothes that you love in just the right fit and size an overwhelming task? Experience a new way to shop with Stitch Fix. Our experts hand-select pieces so you can get the ease of personal styling from the convenience of home. Every piece is curated just for you, for staying home or on the go in your unique style. With Stitch Fix, there's never any subscription required, and it's delivered right to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Play with me!
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Just a minute left here before we come back around and talk to David Lesky of Inside the Crown. We'll do that next segment. We got to make sure we get the commercials in, though, before we can get to Lesky. I'll also let you know that all of our Big 12 coverage from the Kansas City Power and Light District is brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomer's. Right now, Oklahoma is up by 6 over Iowa State. The winner of that game will go on to play KU tomorrow. That game tips off at 5:30 Central Time. You can hear it right here, of course, on your home for Kansas Athletics, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Also, Almost Entirely Sports tomorrow night will be on still, and we'll be going till 11 from these same studios out here at KCP&L after all of the post-game coverage wraps up for the KU game tomorrow night. But we're not going anywhere yet. Show's not over. Another hour. It'll kick off with David Lesky next here on Sports Radio 810.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Your home for Sporting KC. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Russell to Espinoza, and he puts it into the roof of the net.
I mean, there's no doubt that Roger still has a lot to give on the field.
Tim Melia, utterly unbelievable. It falls to Polito, headed off the bar, and the rebound is knocked home by Johnny Russell.
The MLS is back on your hometown radio station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
How does A1 Mortgage beat those big bank rates and still offer no out-of-pocket closing costs? Because A1 Mortgage is from Little Old Lee Summit, and we pay Little Old Lee Summit rent. You know who pays rent for those big banks? You do. A1 Mortgage has been servicing the entire Kansas City area from Little Old Lee Summit since 2007. We've always been your hometown mortgage lender that offers the lowest interest rates. When it's time for your family to purchase or refinance a home, call A1 Mortgage in Little Old Lee Summit now and have your loan approved in about an hour and closed in about 10 days. 816-822-8888. That's 816-822-8888. Download our app or apply online at a1mortgage.com. A1 Mortgage, 816-822-8888 or a1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group, LLC, a Kansas and Missouri licensed mortgage company, NMLS 268370. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice.
I've actually had customers halfway through showing them merchandise and saying, I guess I don't need to spend that much, do I?
Diamonds Direct 20-year jewelry professional and designer Enrique Chavez sees it every day. Customers amazed at how far their budgets will go.
Or on the other hand, a guy says, I'm not going to compromise, so let me go ahead and stretch my budget a bit. I never heard that anywhere else I worked.
And with Diamonds Direct's huge selection, you never have to compromise like you do at other places.
They usually are pushed in most stores to a specific color and clarity, whereas in our store we have such a vast amount of diamonds for them to look at. They're astonished.
So shop around Kansas City. But we promise you won't find a better value and lower prices than Diamonds Direct.
So they're getting more for their money than they can anywhere else in the city.
Diamonds Direct, Kansas City's direct diamond importer.
A wow experience. It's just utterly amazing.
At 119th and Row.
The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship is just around the corner on March 18th through the 23rd downtown at Municipal Auditorium. 15 games over the course of 5 days as we crown the 83rd NAIA Men's Basketball National Champion. Catch all the excitement as single-day tickets start at just $20. For ticket and championship information, go to NAIAHoops.com today. The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, a Kansas City tradition.
A KC tradition since 1957, Hereford House is a locally owned steakhouse that has served generations of Kansas Cityans. Hereford House exclusively serves certified Hereford beef, which has been proven to be naturally more tender and flavorful than other brands. All their 1 days, hand-cut daily and grilled over an open charcoal flame. This process provides a wonderful aroma and delicious flavor that cannot be duplicated by any other cooking method. Hereford House, Leawood, Independence, Shawnee, and Zona Rosa.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810, WHB. Number 1 all day, every day. Kansas City's hometown radio station. 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810, WHB, Kansas City. This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Do you want to make us smarter, Lesky? This show's been really stupid today. We could really use like a smart adult.
Well, then you've come to the wrong place, but I'll do my best.
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Royals expert, author of Inside the Crown, smart adult David Lesky joins us now here on Almost Entirely Sports. I'm live from the KCP&L across the street from the T-Mobile Center where the Big 12 tournament is happening and will continue to happen over the remainder of the week. We'll have all that coverage for you here on Sports Radio 810, including tomorrow night's KU game against probably OU at this point. Certainly looking that way early on, but there's a lot of game left between OU and Iowa State, so we'll keep an eye on that over the next hour of the show. But we're not going to talk about basketball with Lesky unless he's really going to throw a curveball. That's the baseball reference. I'm going to make sure that we get this sport thing figured out. We're doing baseball references only. You can follow him on Twitter at DBLesky, and please, for the love of anything good, check out Inside the Crown at insidethecrown.substack.com. Lesky's been churning out some incredible Royals content since the Substack newsletter launched there. If you're a regular listener to this show, bring football into it. You might be subscribed to Seth Kaiser's Chief in the North newsletter. Same format from Lesky, although baseball. I mean, that's really, it's like that, but it's baseball, and it's excellent. Lesky, how are you doing tonight? Do you want to talk about basketball for any particular reason?
We could talk about whatever you want. What I want to talk about really, stop calling me a responsible adult because that's giving me a bad reputation.
I'm sorry. I know I don't want to make you like seem less cool with the kids, you know? I want you to I don't want to take your edge away, but I also do want to acknowledge that you are smarter than the rest of us. I feel like there's got to be a middle ground there somewhere.
Yeah, you can keep telling people that I'm smarter than you, but I don't need the adult part. That part it's hurting me with the teen demographic. They're not subscribing to Inside the Crown because of you.
And if you subscribe to InsideTheCrown.substack.com, Lesky will also tell you where you can get cool drugs. Not bad drugs, just the cool ones.
The super cool ones, yeah.
As I was driving out here to the studio today, I drove past a billboard that said, this is all true to life, not a joke. A billboard that said, the legal drinking age is 21. Thanks for not buying alcohol for minors. And first of all, I was like, it's very presumptuous to be thanking me in advance for something that I may or may not be doing. But, like, here's the thing that I thought. And Lesky, I would love to know if you've got a thought on this. I'd love to help. I'd love your help decoding this for me. But I kind of had the thought of who exists on planet Earth that sees that billboard and thinks, you know what? Good point, billboard. I'm going to either stop buying alcohol for minors or just simply not buy alcohol for minors, even though I was considering it earlier. Like, I figure that you probably have made your moral judgment on that one completely removed from that billboard existing.
Well, you know what? If just one person was on their way to 7-Eleven and stand outside and wait for a teenager and turned around, then that billboard did its job. You're right. You're absolutely right. Because I think that anybody who's convinced that easily by a billboard probably wasn't buying beer for the 17-year-old. I mean, they probably already weren't doing it.
Right. If you're that easily convinced by any billboard, it's one of the reasons that basically any billboard sort of giving any like idea. If you're advertising a big picture of food, that might get me, right? I see a big stack of, pancakes or whatever, and all of a sudden, before I know it, I'm in an IHOP. I get it. But if you're going to champion your cause,
the caves in Springfield, like when you're driving down there with your family, it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go down. Maybe we'll do that on Tuesday.
Right.
But no, I don't. Maybe on Tuesday I won't buy alcohol for minors too. I don't know. I'm with you. It seems like a waste of billboard money. And honestly, I bought billboards for companies before with working in marketing. It's not cheap, and so they spend a lot of money to tell people not to buy. They're thanking them ahead of time for not buying the Natty Light. I mean, good on them, I guess. I don't know.
Here's since we're on the topic, one other thing about this billboard that really caught my eye today. Here's the other thing about it. Much like quicksand, I always sort of thought, strangers offering you candy or like adults offering to buy you beer was going to be a much bigger deal than it ever ended up actually being. I've not encountered any of those situations. And also, what adult is buying alcohol for minors unless you're literally like, if you're 21 and your friends are 19 and 20, or what, if you're the oldest in your friend group or whatever, that billboard is changing nothing about what's about to happen. Like, that's just your choices have probably been made there already. But if you're 35 and you're outside of a 7-Eleven waiting to charge a 10% upcharge on some teen so you can get the Natty Light, that sucks. That should be worse than illegal. Like, that should come with an immediate sentence for you being a very weird person.
Well, you're probably doing some other creepy things on top of that. And so I think that the buying of the alcohol for minors is probably the least of both your worries and society's worries about you. I think we're onto something. And I think that we may be starting to crack the code of a societal problem beyond buying alcohol for minors. That's where I'm getting it from this. I don't know.
I think you're exactly right. And also, speaking of that, Mike Miner, I don't know if you'd buy him a drink, but what do you think about that guy, huh?
That was outstanding. I think you've become the adult in the room now.
For the world's laziest, worst segue that did not have. I don't have a Mike Miner question for you today. That was nothing. That was absolutely.
I don't have a Mike Miner answer, honestly.
Talking about minors. What about this Bobby Wood Jr.? Tell me why he shouldn't be on the opening day roster. He's not 21 yet. He's a minor.
You want to talk about?
I was going to say, if you buy alcohol for Bobby Witt Jr., you are not adhering to that billboard.
I'd do it if it get him on the big league roster.
You know where Bobby Witt shouldn't be? The minors.
You guys, you're going to make me.
Big league opening day roster, Lesky, right, Lesky? I'm nodding, Lesky. I'm nodding. You can't see me, but I'm nodding.
Lesky, George Brett on our airways today said Bobby Witt should be on the opening day roster.
Wow.
So, okay. I'm going to say, how can I put this the right way? I'm not against him making the opening day roster, first of all. Obviously, I think that he's extremely fun. And, I wrote an article that said Bobby Witt Jr. is fun. That's literally the title of the article.
Literally.
So, yeah, I think, and I called him Fun Bobby on Twitter, which made me think of Friends, too.
Fun Bobby.
It worked out really well. But the thing is, I'm not ready to anoint him just yet for a couple of reasons. One, he hasn't faced the best competition. He's been awesome. He's done everything he needs to do to this point. But I want to see more. I want to see more because the guy's got 37 games in rookie ball, plus a really impressive alternate site. Now, the argument for it is the Royals sat and watched him. Like, they just sat and watched him for, 3 months in 2020, face off against mostly guys who are older than him, more advanced than him. He played really, really well. We saw it in summer camp because we got to watch a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
The alternate site we didn't get to see very much, if at all. Other than whatever videos the Royals chose to put out. But if you believe in the Royals' crop of young pitchers, and I think most people do, then you have to believe in Bobby Witt Jr. because he was so good against the Royals' crop of young pitchers at the alternate site. And so that, to me, I think that there is at least an argument to be made that the Royals know Bobby Witt Jr.'s readiness better than anybody, and better than they typically would had he been playing in Wilmington or whatever it would have been last season. I don't know if it would have been Lexington or Wilmington or maybe both, whatever. And obviously the organization would have had their eyes on him, but it was a unique situation where they were able to really have their eyes on him last season. So if at the end of spring training he keeps doing this, and the number of guys, probably Nicky Lopez, who keeps doing what he's been doing, which is not great, which is a continuation of the first 2 years of his big league career, which has been not great. I think you can make a pretty strong argument that he should make the opening day roster. First of all, he needs to keep doing this in spring training because he hasn't faced elite competition yet. Now, his 9,000-foot home run was off a big league pitcher, and so that's really impressive. Which, by the way, we need to come back to this. Jorge Soler hit one that nobody's talking about, but was crazy. So just bookmark that because I want to talk about that in a couple minutes.
Kyle Isbell also hit one like that, I feel like, today.
There have been some dongs.
Oh, boy.
Anderson Miller's went
450. Opposite field.
We can talk about all of that. We'll get to that. The thing about Bobby Witt, at this point, he hasn't faced great competition yet. And so I think that we need to see a little bit more from him. It's just early. He's got 20 plate appearances in the spring. It's just not quite enough for me to say, okay, this guy who has 37 games in rookie ball into his professional resume is ready to be a big leaguer. But that's it. He looks the part. He looks like a big leaguer. He acts like a big leaguer. He obviously knows the big leagues. And so at this point, if the season started today, I'd say no, he should not be in the majors. But it doesn't start today. We have, I think, 2.5 more weeks of spring games. I think the last spring game was like the 28th or 29th or whatever. So there's a lot of time left for him to make this club. I think it could happen. I would put it at under 50% right now that it'll happen, but I think it could happen. The other thing, I wrote about this too. There's an argument. I don't hear this very often, but I've thought about this for a while and finally put it into words. The season starts off, there are really good pitchers, and it's like 38 degrees. That's a really difficult hitting environment. And you don't want to put a guy at his age, at his experience level, in that situation, because I think you want to make sure, you want to do everything you can to ensure that he succeeds whenever he does come up to the big leagues. And I think you could make an argument that it puts him in a really difficult position, having to hit against the best pitchers in the entire world that he's never really hit against that level outside of a handful of spring training games. when the weather is what it is. There's a lot of outside factors and all that, but I think that needs to be considered as well, because you just want to make sure that whenever he gets going, because you don't want to have a situation, and I'm not saying this would happen to him, but you don't want to have a situation where he struggles for 2 years like Adalberto Mondesi did. He's a perfect example of being up too quickly and being promoted too aggressively. So there's just a lot of things to consider there, and I think that so far he's checked off all the boxes. I just want to see him keep checking off those boxes.
So I think that the most compelling argument of those is probably that idea of, like, think about what happens if there is a real struggling stretch. What happens the first time you send him back down? Like that. You would like, if you're going to have this hype train be running as absolutely ludicrous as it is right now, in a good way. I'm saying this in a good way. You would like for his ascent to be permanent. Like you don't want to be going through growing pains that you thought you were going to be able to skip. You also have, and people really should read the piece on Inside the Crown, where you have like the nugget about the level of opponent that he's faced so far. You mentioned already, but one thing Rudy mentioned, what George Brett said on the station earlier today, is that Bobby Witt's going to be better than George Brett, and I would like to know your counter argument.
George Brett's a baseball Hall of Famer. So I feel like anytime anybody says the player is going to be better than a Hall of Famer, they're wrong. That's not.
Here's the thing, Lesky, is we've got some audio of me talking about Patrick Mahomes.
With Troy Aikman.
So far, I gotta say, for me being a really arrogant bleep hole about an up-and-coming Kansas City sports prospect, I am batting 1,000 right now. I'm
That's
one
fair.
for one.
You're doing well so far, and I think that the thing is that there's always that chance, right? Because if you had said 10 years ago, "Oh, this Mike Trout guy is going to be better than Mickey Mantle," you'd be like, maybe cool your Jets. Well, so far better than Mickey Mantle. So I think there's always that chance. Obviously, I am really hesitant. I'm probably the late adopter on all of this. Like, I think back to like Eric Hosmer's debut, which, by the way, we can talk about this too. When Bobby Witt debuts, which is more anticipated, the Hosmer from 2011 or Bobby Witt from at some point this year or next? I think that's an interesting question.
That's a good question.
If you think about the Hosmer debut, like that, this city was crazy that day. There were like 18,000 walk-up tickets to see a 21 at the time, I think, whatever it was, to see a guy who was just entering his age of buying beer for minors.
He went 0 for 2 with 2 walks, I believe.
Those 2 walks were really impressive.
Yeah. I think he might even stole a base.
Well, I just remember like the next day or the day after he hit a ball through the wall, basically.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
But I think that you're just asking a lot of somebody, and I tend to be a little bit less like, hey, I think this guy's gonna be really good. But I don't know that I'd put the better than a Hall of Famer tag on him. And the other thing about George Brett, obviously, best player in world history, all that, he's not slow to put that tag on people. He's done it before with Alex Gordon. So, I mean, this isn't the first time he said this guy's going to be better than me. But, I mean, look, if there's somebody in the system who could become the better Royal, the better player than George Brett, I mean, it's Bobby Witt. Right? There's no Mondesi's got the talent. Obviously, we've seen it, but he's also 25 now. It's his 4th big league season. Like, it's probably not going to happen that he's Hall of Fame caliber. But of the players in the organization, I mean, Witt is number 1, and then you don't get to number 2 until, I don't know, 3.5 miles down the list. And there's some good prospects in the system. And you look at a guy like Eric Pena, he could be really, really good. But it's Bobby Witt. If you're going to put money on somebody being better than George Brett, he's the guy for sure. I have trouble going there. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's just that you're not as brave and cool as I am, and that's just
because I'm a responsible adult. Okay,
Yeah,
I get it.
It's true. So tell me why Kyle Isbell's gonna be better than Mike Trout.
Well, I think it's obvious. He's got more tattoos.
That's a good point. Great point. He's already cooler at the very least. He's got that.
He's definitely cooler.
Who's the best tatted Royals player of all time, and is it going to be Kyle Isbell?
Well, God, that's actually a really good question. I got to think back on that a little bit. But I mean, Salvy's got a lot of tattoos, right?
Duffy's tatted up now, right?
Yeah, he is. I noticed it last year, and then I think there's a couple new ones this season. So, I mean, the Royals are quickly becoming the tatted team in baseball, I think.
I love that for them. That is so good for their brand. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, it's just the colors are going to start to clash, and that's going to bother me.
Yeah, they probably need to keep it mostly black and white, and so it'll just sort of, you can not focus in, and it's just gonna look cool as heck.
I appreciate it. I like the aesthetic.
So do you want to talk about all of the Royals' massive dongs?
Yeah, they hung a lot of dong today. It was and really all spring. They've got 22 home runs this spring in 11 games.
Dongtown USA. Yeah.
Yeah. Jorge Soler. So let's talk about Jorge Soler for a second. We all marveled at Bobby Witt, and if you haven't been to Surprise, where that ball landed, the Bobby Witt one on the track behind the berm, that's a really long way away. I was looking through my phone. I had a picture of it from probably like 2011 or something. Like looking into home plate, it's a long way away. It was a bad picture. That was an old phone. It was. I couldn't post it because it looked like I was on the moon or something. But it's a really long way away. And then Soler hit this one today that went over that back white fence, and I'm pretty sure went into the parking lot, which that's a really long way away. Because if you're ever walking into Surprise, and you usually come in on the third base side because that's where the Royals dugout is. But if you're walking in there, it's kind of a fairly long walk just to get to the concessions, let alone your seat. So that was a really, really impressive home run today. And the turn he made to turn on that ball was as quick as you'll ever see. He looks really, really good. And when we went back, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about it. The key to the offense, it's not Mondesi, it's not Benintendi, it's Soler and Dozier. And Dozier I haven't seen much of, but boy, Soler looks like he's on right now. And if he can carry that in, they're going to hit some home runs when the season starts too. I mean, this offense has a chance. We've said it all last month. If healthy, this offense has a chance to be pretty darn good. But that home run today was, I mean, I was working-ish and watching the game, and literally I was writing something and totally lost the train of thought in the sentence, and I just scrapped the entire thing I was writing because I forgot everything about it because I just rewound and watched the home run like 4 times because it was that impressive.
I think it is really. I mean, we went through this with Dozier, like you said, a couple of weeks ago, and we talked. Soler's the guy that we have, I think, pretty high expectations for, just on like a Major League Baseball expectation scale. But I don't know why he's not like the sexy name to keep an eye on. I don't know if it's because we forget about the DH sometimes. Like, I don't know if he doesn't come to mind as easily. Maybe it's because we have seen him do it, and right now we're all kind of buying optimism and saying, maybe this guy or this guy or this guy is going to like hit a new ceiling. But you're right. I mean, the fun of just having a dude in the lineup that can absolutely hit dingers is such a great thing to have. That has not that is not a shoo-in. Not every team has that, and I'm very hopeful for Jorge Soler this year to just be able to be that power right there in the lineup that is just a one-man highlight machine in a way that I don't know where the rest of the power in this lineup even comes from if not for Soler. It seems like we've overlooked him largely at this point. And by we, I mean everyone except for you, the non-adults.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of guys in baseball who hit home runs, right? There aren't as many guys who hit absolute tanks.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think back, I think it was 2017 when Soler, he was terrible in the big leagues that year, but I think it might have been Mother's Day because I remember like pink uniforms. And he hit just like a missile off the Orioles, and it cleared all 3 center field fences. I don't know if you remember that at all, but this goes back to me being just a ridiculous nerd about this stuff. But it was, to this day, I mean, I've been watching baseball pretty much my whole life. And it's just, let's say I start remembering things when I was like 5. That's 31 years of baseball that I've been watching, and that was one of the top 5 home runs I've ever seen. It was so impressive, and it got out in like a tenth of a second or something. Not a lot of guys can do that. Yeah. There are not a lot of players, and the Royals have one of them, and that's really cool. Look, Carlos Santana can hit some tanks too. I mean, that's a strong dude. Dozier's got some serious power too. They have some. I mean, those are more like the rest of the home run hitters in baseball. Those two, but I mean, the Royals have some big fellas who can really knock the tar out of the ball. I don't know why I started talking like it was the 40s there, but it just kind of happened.
Murray, you know, these guys, they've got some big fellas on this roster that can really knock the tar out of the baseball. Baseball's 2 words.
They're going to hit some home runs. See?
Yeah. They're going to knock this one clean out of the pride of Kaufman.
But they're going to hit some home runs. I don't know. You know, with the new baseball, we'll see how that goes. It could very well stop this, but I don't know if there's a bet out there, but if there's an odds on the Royals breaking the team home run record, I think it's not the worst bet you could make. Yeah. And look up and down the lineup. You've got Merrifield. He's a guy, 12 to 15 probably. Benintendi, maybe 15-ish if he's healthy. Santana's probably 25 to 30. Dozier's probably 25 to 30. Soler, I mean, the ceiling is 50? He hit 48 2 years ago, so it's not like that's the weirdest thing in the world to say.
Bobby Witt's got 70 in him, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
80. Pretty easy.
I don't know why you're so pessimistic.
That's a good point. Well, here's the thing.
Rudy doesn't have him coming up to the All-Star break.
Bobby Witt's not on steroids, okay? It's clean, right? He's going to get to 70. I just don't know if he can get the record without, he's a clean boy.
They're going to call him up at the All-Star break, and then he's going to hit 70. That's my take.
If you guys want to be that pessimistic about him, that's your business, not mine. But I mean, really, you look up and down the lineup, and Mondesi's a guy. Would it surprise you if he hit 25 this year? I mean, I don't think it would surprise me if he hit 10 or 25. Honestly,
yeah. He's got it in him for sure.
He does. He hit 6 home runs in the last 20 games.
I'm not. If Mondesi has a 30 home run season in his career, like if you told me there was just one 30 home run season, I wouldn't be shocked. It's just the question of, can he have that that September run for half a season at the least?
Right.
Well, Rudy, I'm so glad you bring that up, Rudy, because I hate to cut you off, Lesky, but there was this wonderful article on this Substack newsletter called Inside the Crown that I was reading this week.
I've heard about that one.
Is that Seth's new venture?
It's Seth's baseball newsletter. It's really good. And there was this excellent story written about Mondesi. You asked that question of, can he put together that September stretch for a full year? Lesky, I liked very much that you kind of gave, here's what I think. I'm not doing any research yet, but here's what I think. Here's the research. How'd it go? I don't know. So there's their Cliff Notes version of the story. But can you, before you kind of project ahead, can you give us what it was that made that stretch so outrageous and so different from the previous chunk of the season?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was early in the year. He had some bad luck. I mean, it was as simple as that. He probably should have been a little better than he was. But that said, he was the worst hitter in baseball, and it wasn't especially close until he turned it around. He was. If you look at weighted runs created plus, so just like on a scale with 100 being average, he was 14. And I think the next closest was, if I remember, 48 was the second worst. So
it looked like a typo amount of difference.
Yeah, it's. I looked at it 3 different times to make sure that was right because it seemed so ridiculous. Because I didn't remember him being that much worse than everybody, but he was. And then. All of a sudden, it seemed like all of a sudden things turned around. I didn't really put this in the article because it got long. I even got the read more thing on the email, so I'm sorry if you had to click a second time to finish reading it. But he started to, you could see it around late August, and I remember noting this, that he was taking inside sliders, which he wasn't doing all season long to that point, all season, a month. And then he just started laying off those pitches. And what you saw on that hot stretch from September 4th on, his walk rate was 7.5%, which is slightly below average. And slightly below average for Adalberto Mondesi is like superstar plate discipline, basically.
Right.
compared to previous. And so that was a big deal. He just stopped chasing pitches, and that was a huge thing for him. The other thing, from the right side, what he did from the right side seems awfully sustainable to me, because he was hitting the ball hard. He wasn't that patient on it, but he was patient enough, and he was hitting the ball far. I mean, his average distance of batted ball was like 192 feet from the right side, which is crazy. And that's everything he hits, not just ground ball. It included ground balls, fly balls, all that. It's a really big average fly ball, or average batted ball distance. Left side, it was a little bit less. I'm a little bit less confident about it. He wasn't hitting the ball as hard. He was taking more pitches from the left side, so that's a good thing. There was some fluke there. Not like he was worst hitter in baseball fluke, but not best hitter in baseball either. And what concerns me a little bit, if you look at the American League Central, and this can change obviously with call-ups and all that, but there are 4 left-handed starters in the whole division outside of the Royals. So Mondesi's hitting from the right side probably doesn't benefit him quite as much, because he won't face as many lefties. But he did hit well from the left side. Oh, and the other thing too, I forgot to mention this. The thing I noticed that was really interesting is he was swinging at less bad pitches, but he was also making less contact on the bad pitches he was swinging at. And when you think about it, you're like, wait, less contact is good? Yes, on bad pitches it is, because you make weak contact. If you're swinging at pitches outside the strike zone and making contact, you're probably not doing damage to the baseball. It's actually better to swing and miss sometimes than it is to make contact. And so that part too, a little bit worrisome, because I don't know how sustainable it is to keep missing the ball, which is a weird thing to say. But all in all, I think you have the makings of a guy who, could be all-star type level, maybe even better than that. If he can match the batted ball numbers on the left side or the right side, that's like MVP candidate level. Seriously, it's not. I don't think it'll happen. But he was smoking the ball on the right side. It was crazy, like 95.5 mile per hour average exit velocity, which is insane. He averaged a hard hit ball every time the bat met the ball. It was hard hit basically, and you don't see that very often. So it was really encouraging, and he's looked good this spring too. Today he lined out. It wasn't the hardest line out ever, but he had a really good plate appearance in the first inning. And on the bigger picture, I tweeted this too. Royals went 1-2-3 in the first day, but they made him throw 17 pitches. Most Royals teams, it's 1-2-3 on 8 pitches.
Right. Yeah.
10 pitches, whatever.
That's really interesting.
I think that's something that will, and that helps later in spring training. It doesn't really matter because the starter's not in very long. But when you make the guy throw 18 pitches or whatever in the first inning, and then he's still in there in the 6th, but instead of being at 78 pitches, he's at 94 because you worked him earlier in the game. That maybe you can score some runs off a tired starting pitcher. So there's a lot of good, even in a 1-2-3 inning. And Mondesi was part of that today because he had a much better plate appearance than what we saw for the first 2/3 of the season in 2020.
So I thought about this as I was reading the story, and I sort of expect that there's a real chance this answer is very short and very simple. And if that's the case, you can just hit me with it. It's fine. But I had the thought. I thought, you know what? I want to know if Lesky thinks there's any chance of this. Is there any argument whatsoever where if you think, and maybe it's not right out of the gate, but you think there's any argument that could be made that the right side of the plate stuff that we saw from Mondesi is sustainable, the left side probably isn't, and he's probably spending most of his time on the left side. He only spent 29% of those plate appearances in that last year on the right side. Is there any thought whatsoever to say, hey, Mondi, actually, don't worry about going to the lefty. Just stay right, keep your feet right there, and let's just see how that works for a little bit. My hunch is that you're going to say that at that point the advantage of being able to switch is all comes out in the wash by losing that. But I don't if it's all going to be good on the right side of the plate and the left side is where he struggles. Am I making it far too simple by even asking that?
No, you're not. The answer is it's not going to happen. But
right.
I don't know that it's not going to happen because it shouldn't happen. I think there are a lot of players who shouldn't switch hit, but do. Less now because switch hitting is not quite as common as it used to be. But I don't think it's crazy to say if you do one thing better than the other, do it from that side. The problem, of course, is that he's been doing it forever.
Right.
And he probably hasn't faced a right-handed pitcher from the right side of the batter's box since he was like 8. So, there's different angles to get used to and all that. And at this point in his career, I don't know. There's something to be said for the comfort level of being able to be on the opposite side. So I think it's one of those things that you have to consider, but the left side isn't bad necessarily. And so it's one of those things that, how much do you gain from it? I don't know what the answer is. But yeah, so it's not going to happen. But like I said, I don't know that it shouldn't happen. It just won't.
I also, you have a better chance of coming up with this than I would, but I can't think of someone off the top of my head who switch hit, especially like well into their fully major league career and then just stopped. Like, I don't know if there would be precedent, especially for someone who, like you said, it's not been a misery from the left side. It's just been not as good and by your eye there, not as sustainable.
Well, so it's funny. I was actually trying to string out my answer to you because there is somebody, and I can't think of who it is, and I was hoping that I could access it in my brain. And the answer is that I have not.
Rudy from half court, any chance? Rudy from half court?
What was the question again?
Beards from half court, Beards. There was no.
I think he forgot to turn his mic on.
I thought there was a chance that.
Oh no, I had my mic on. I just had it to where Josh could hear. I didn't.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna say because I was like, I did not hear a thing that he said.
I said I was on Reddit.
Got it.
Beards said he was on Reddit. There was no chance that Beards was gonna have it. I thought there was a chance Rudy might have hit it from half court.
I'll be honest. I was talking to little Chief Boy on Twitter, Tucker, and I spaced.
About Chief Boy. I saw. Well, all right, good. Well, listen.
It was about Mondesi. I know what was talked about. It was Mondesi batting from the left side, and it's not great, but I didn't hear the question of what I assume it's what other player maybe like struggled and then eventually got good at it.
This is going great. This is awesome.
Am I right?
Rudy, give me your answer to what you think the question was.
Mike Trout.
I knew you were going to say Mike Trout. I knew it.
The answer is always Mike Trout.
No,
always
it's not.
Mike Trout.
In this case, it is not Wilt or Mike Trout. Damn it.
Mickey Mantle. Kyle Isbell. It's Bobby Witt Jr., isn't it?
It's Mike Minor.
Elgin Baylor.
Lesky, I want you to know that I read the entire 40-man roster crunch story, even though some of it is just sort of out of my direct interest range. Like, it's just a little... I'm not even sure that's true. It's just too far in advance for me right now. I read that whole story, and I have, like, questions about the 40-man roster crunch, and you can read about it at InsideTheCrown.substack.com, but we are not going to be able to talk about it here today because we talked about Miners, Mondesi, and Rudy wasn't listening.
Can I know what the question is now? I'm sorry. No. I know. I want to know now. Please.
No. You have to listen to the podcast later to find out.
Oh, boy.
Yes. You can. Let's go ahead and get that time spent listening up on the podcast. You can go listen on the podcast.
Man.
Lesky, thank you for your time.
I'm sorry, Lesky.
I'm sorry that we wasted it again.
You know what? It's okay. We'll waste it again next week, too.
That's what I was going to ask if you'd be happy to waste it again next week. Thanks, Lesky. Please,
thanks, guys.
Dear listener, you just heard what we did to Lesky, right? You heard from the beginning to end. You heard what we did to Lesky there, right? Could you please go sign up for Inside the Crown? Because I really like talking to Lesky.
Are we sure it wasn't Bobby Witt Jr.?
And I really would be bummed if Lesky started telling us that he needs to spend his time on a better radio. On a better radio show. I would not disagree with him, but it would really hurt me to hear that. So if you could, at the very least, go to InsideTheCrown.substack.com, follow him on Twitter at DBLesky, then at least he'll have some sort of concrete reason to continue wasting his time with us every week.
Hey,
I can't wait to talk to him again next
I just
week.
subscribed.
Just now?
No, I did a while ago.
Okay.
Well, I just did it now with my work email. 2 emails.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
2
double
emails.
up. I'm all about padding the stats.
Beards, you subscribed to Inside the Crown yet?
No, I have not.
It's free. It's free. It's still free right now. You gonna go sign up during the break, Beards?
So about Bobby Witt Jr.
I could do that.
It was him, right?
Oh look! NBA Reddit.
God, can't even pretend to support our guest.
Now I'll go subscribe.
I mean, Rudy, this is a tough segment for you to be indignant
I don't
about.
know what you're talking about, okay? I was selling products online.
You shouldn't be selling inside the crown.substack.com. Let's take a break.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
Hey, it's Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. You know, now is a great time to update your home. Whether it's a new look inside or some exterior protection for this harsh KC climate, there's no better place to go than CertaPro. You can give them a call at 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com to schedule your free estimate. Now, they have knocked it out of the park every time I've used them. Inside my home or outside where my paint job still looks great. Their attention to detail is outstanding, from the estimate through the prep work, the job itself, and especially on cleanup. Worry-free all the way. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so they're local business owners right here in our community. They do it all. Premier quality products with competitive pricing, plus a great warranty. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call right now at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA. Experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. They don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
There's no such thing as quality of life when you are constantly in pain. No sleep, no work, no play without the pain. Enough is enough. Stephen St. John here to tell you about the medical professionals at QC Kinetics who help patients take back their quality of life with bold new breakthrough pain treatments. These are regenerative cell therapies that precisely target the root cause of the pain, usually caused by old injuries and arthritis, back pain, hip pain, shoulders and knees, even sciatic nerve pain. QC Kinetics' new gen therapies help restore and heal damaged tissue with long-term relief. No Band-Aid solutions. And they have amazing patient satisfaction reports. Best news? No surgery, no pain meds, and no downtime. Don't suffer one more day. Book your free consultation at QC Kinetics. Call now, 816-412-6299. Located right off 435 and State Line. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple, and you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code OIL for a 50-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 75 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code OIL for a 50-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OIL.
Guys, have some free time? PRA Health Sciences is seeking healthy, non-smoking men ages 18 to 45 to participate in a study of an investigational medication. Volunteers must be available for 4 stays of 3 nights each and 1 follow-up visit. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $6,000 for time and travel. Call PRA today at 913-210-5900 or visit us on the web at prastudies.com/Lenexa.
How does A1 Mortgage beat those big bank rates and still offer no out-of-pocket closing costs? Because A1 Mortgage is from Little Old Lee Summit, and we pay Little Old Lee Summit rent. You know who pays rent for those big banks? You do. A1 Mortgage has been servicing the entire Kansas City area from Little Old Lee Summit since 2007. We've always been your hometown mortgage lender that offers the lowest interest rates. When it's time for your family to purchase or refinance a home, call A1 Mortgage in Little Old Lee Summit now and have your loan approved in about an hour and closed in about 10 days. 816-822-8888. That's 816-822-8888. Download our app or apply online at a1mortgage.com. A1 Mortgage, 816-822-8888 or a1mortgage.com.
A1 Mortgage, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
A1 Mortgage Group, LLC, a Kansas and Missouri licensed mortgage company, NMLS 268370. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice.
Live coverage of the Big 12 Tournament and Championship Week is brought to you by Creative Planning, CBD American Shaman, 23rd Street Brewery, and Gomer's. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports
I think we did 2 really good hours.
with Joshua Brisco
And we also did this hour.
on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Shane Victorino! All caps is the text that I got from Lesky as the commercial was going there.
That's not Bobby Wood Jr.
He said, Shane Victorino.
So what did
just
he do?
hit me. Also, JT Snow.
What did they do?
I think you could. Those are your clues, Rudy. Those are your clues to Sherlock this out.
They batted left-handed. JT Snow was a first baseman for the Giants. Shane Victorino, the Flying Hawaiian, as he was called, played, I believe, right field for the Phillies. Or no, he was center fielder for the Phillies.
No, don't say those words. No, he was right. He was right field. Outfield.
Was he a right fielder?
Just outfield. No, just outfield is fine.
Okay.
Outfield is fine. Don't say the other one. It'll kick Beards into gear. You can't have that.
First baseman?
Well, that's okay. Cool. Oh, there it goes. Never mind.
What? I'm confused.
I'll tell you what, Rudy, if you go to Shane Victorino's baseball reference page, it is actually, the thing they were talking about is explicitly spelled out above the break of the screen. I'll see if that's also true for JT Snow. If you go to Shane Victorino's baseball reference page and go to JT Snow's baseball reference page, you do not have to scroll.
So I was right, Bobby Wood Jr.
Nope.
Yep.
You do not.
They basically, and I do remember you asking this question because the whole point was he struggles from one side of the plate, so it was like, hey, why don't you just like stop hitting from one side of the plate? And Victor, I almost said Victorino. Lesky obviously made the point like, well, he's probably been switch hitting since he was like 8, so it's just now all of a sudden you're going from seeing pitches from one side, from one side a certain way. Now you're just all of a sudden going to the different way. And the fact that Lesky was going for is Victorino was a switch hitter until midway through the 2013 season.
As was JT Snow.
For some reason, I just assumed you guys had moved on from. I did hear that subject. I just thought you guys had moved on from that, and that's when my brain went blank.
It was about the sort of the scope of Mondesi's struggle that nothing to do with Bobby Wood Jr. Even though everything does, like it didn't.
I mean, but it was.
It was through the kind of the scope of where Mondesi had his most success in September last year. I was throwing out the ideas of is there even any precedent of someone doing something like that? Lesky said he was stalling to try to remember who it was. He could not remember.
Yeah.
He now remembers it's Shane Victorino and also JT Snow.
When he said that, that's when my brain like kicked back on. So like I remember that part. It was just like all of a sudden I was like, oh boy. But to be fair, I never would have gotten that. No chance.
You have those weird crevices in your brain where you gather weird things about sports facts.
Don't totally remember that about Shane Victorino.
That's fine. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
And know that.
It was that I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. And JT Snow was.
Oh, I'm also not. Hold on. I'm not mad.
But
I'm not mad that you weren't paying attention. I mean, listen. Do I occasionally fight the temptation to crack open Pokemon Go whenever you're talking about those G Fuel codes? No, I'm saying Popedy's nerfing. I'm saying may he without sin cast the first stone here.
Yeah.
It's a lot. 3 hours is a long radio show, and you've done 7 hours of radio.
And
today.
JT Snow was like I remember JT Snow, but like he was just before my time. I know JT Snow from like the very first MLB game I had on PlayStation 3 or 2, probably 3.
So this is just as a little peek into where I'm at in terms of just like keeping an eye around baseball.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have put a gun to my head, I've been a lot of gun to my heads today.
Yeah.
I don't know why. If you would have
Rough day, Josh?
said it's been tough, yeah.
Need to
If
talk?
you would have put a gun to my head,
I mean, we have therapists in our building.
if you would have
They
said,
work
hey,
mostly with
Josh,
children, but that could work.
I mean, how far out of that demo am I?
How
Barely,
far?
right? I'm no Lesky. I'm no well-balanced adult.
No.
If you would have said, I'll give you $1 million if you tell me right now, is Shane Victorino still playing Major League Baseball or not?
He's not.
I'm not sure what I would have said, but I would have thought about it. And not only is he not, his last season was 2015.
I was gonna say it's been a while.
2015.
I think he might have played minor league ball after that, kind of did the Alcides Escobar thing where he played minor league ball for a year, or maybe he was in Japan. I'm now trying to find his minor league stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel
his
like
last Major League appearance was in 2015, and it just seems like Shane Victorino was going to be in the league sort of casually forever.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the league for quite some time. Yep, 2016. He was in Iowa AAA with the Cubs. I was pretty sure he tried one little. I mean, he played 9 games there. He wasn't there for long.
But also just like the specifics of, he had this extremely successful, like, long career, and he was an all-star twice. Like, that is the guy that I just sort of, I am aware of. He's not some dude at the end of the bench that goes up and down the minors. I'm aware of Shane Victorino's existence, but I haven't really checked in on the man in the last 6 years, apparently.
For sure. Well, which I mean is understandable considering he hasn't been playing baseball.
Good point. Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah.
Would you have put $1,000 cash on us not talking about Shane Victorino on tonight's show?
Yeah. I would have viewed that as easy money.
Here's we've talked for a while about playing the game of clean your tabs at the end of a show.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I got working right now. Shane Victorino, Isaac Brown, Kansas Players Campaign for Emmett Jones to step in as coach, Buckingham Palace Bowling Alley, Bobby Witt Jr. is fun.
See, it would be a
Lesky's
good
Twitter
idea.
account. Details of Kansas's settlement with Jeff Long revealed. Bill Self comments on 80 Jeff Long's departure from Kansas. Ooh, in fact, let me drop this on you real quick. Let me round out the show this way. Listen to what this is back to back in an article on Fog.net. Here is what Bill Self said about Jeff Long. Quote, "This has certainly been a challenging time for all of us who love KU, and I recognize that change can be difficult. Jeff and I enjoyed a good working relationship, and I wish him well in all his future endeavors. I have the utmost trust and respect for Chancellor Girard, and I am confident he will find us a tremendous new leader for our athletics program. I look forward to what the future holds in store for Kansas athletics." Then Scott in this story gives the statement that Self released whenever Sheon Zinger was let go. Today's a hard day at Kansas athletics, not only because Sheon has been so supportive of our student athletes and coaches, but because he's a Kansas guy who loves this university. We've had many positive things happen since Sheon's arrival, and it's our job to continue to add to the foundation that he's helped set. This is sad because we all liked and appreciated Sheon, but we know that that in all business, tough decisions have to be made. We respect that and wish the best for Sheon and his family. He said all of that about Sheon Zinger. Whenever Jeff Long went up out of here, he said, we had an okay working relationship.
They were good friends.
No, they were not.
Really.
That's the other guy. Thanks to Breland Moore, Her Majesty, and to David Lesky, Intelligent Adult. Of course, also to Rudy and Beards back at the studio. We'll be back live later tomorrow night here from Power and Light. Until then, bye, Mom.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers